Wow. What am I saying?
Get a room.
Get a room. Let's get a room.
Get the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Get the road, Jack.
Exactly.
Don't you get that cheese? It's jacked cheese.
Jack cheese.
The cheesy jackness.
Yep.
It's what happens when cheese works out.
Yeah, he gets jacked.
Totally jacked.
Jack's cheese.
Let's sweep this out. Thank you. If you're tuning in right now, it means you hit that bell notification.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because I haven't tweeted it out yet. So
Yeah.
that's literally the only way you could tell is if you got the bell notification that we went live right
I
now.
got your bell notification right here. Okay.
I should be ding that bell.
No, Kristen Bell.
So, yep. Oh, speaking of Kristen Bell.
What? Did you find season 3?
No, not yet.
Okay.
It still says September. Like the internet says it'll be in September before
Yeah,
it premieres. I'm just specifically going through the Twitter version. So that way we get the Twitter hit. Alright, we're up. We're good. The Twitter,
if you will.
the Twitter. The Twittered.
I am
Alright.
perturbed by this.
Alright, let's begin.
Hello!
Oh, I could go for a Desperado.
A Desperado.
Yeah.
A Desper Burger. Hi! Welcome to wow. What is the show?
Chitty
Media
Chitty
Boat
Chitty.
Podcast! Sorry, you were talking while I was. The Media Boat Podcast is the name of this podcast that you are currently listening to and or watching.
Welcome.
Hi, welcome. We are a podcast that is about media, as the name implies. Movies, television shows, music albums and singles, and video games. Games in which you play on a video screen.
I think we have thoughts on
All of those this week.
Of those this week? I think.
I think so.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah, this is the show you're watching, so let's get it on the roll. Today is August 7th, 2019.
Episode
This is episode
187.
187. Yes.
Yeah.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt.
Hi.
We are the Media Boat Podcast. We are in podcast form, but also on video form for those of you who want to watch us live and comment live. You can check us out at youtube.com/MediaBoat Podcast.
Does that take you there? I don't think that takes you there.
I
Just
don't know.
search Media Boat Podcast on YouTube and you'll find us.
Yes, you'll find plenty of episodes there.
All right, well, let's get the show on the road. And the first thing we talk about, of course, every week is movies, filmed entertainment, if you will. And we always start the movies section with the weekend box office numbers. Who saw what the most?
All right, so we had one new release last week.
We
It
did.
was the very long title of Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, you know what this is if you've seen the Fast and Furious movies. It is The Rock and Jason Statham's characters spin-off.
In a buddy action film,
Yes.
going up against one Idris Elba.
So yeah, Hobbs and Shaw was your sole release last week. It came in first. What do you know? In the box office this week with $60 million debut. Not
Ooh.
stellar for the Fast franchise, but it is a spin-off, so...
It's a spin-off, yes. Does that mean that, like, the Fast and Furious franchise doesn't work without the Fast and Furious characters?
Either that or maybe we're seeing Fast fatigue.
Could be.
That might be part of it. I mean, 8 movies is a lot.
Yeah, they
This
were
is movie
showing
9, if you think about it.
Yeah, technically spin-off 8.5,
8 yeah,
9.
sure, but still,
Consider
that's like saying that
the-
The Hobbit doesn't count as Lord of the Rings movie.
It's 0.3,
like
0.6, and
kind
0.9.
Nice. So yeah, not a super stellar debut. I bet that they are probably disappointed with that number.
Yeah, but they
it hasn't hit international markets yet. I'm sure it'll make up its money there.
But it does allow Universal to run the #1 film in America right now.
Yes.
Promo ads, which I'm sure they have all lined up.
I am sure. But it did, however, beat Disney because #2 was The Lion King with another $38 million. Though, that being said, that shows you just how much better Hobbs & Shaw could have done if those Disney movies weren't still in theaters. Mm-hmm. Because that's like 60 to 38 is not that big of a drop. Like when you think about the difference between one and two.
Right, it's only $30 million.
So yeah.
But also consider that Lion
share.
Right, but also consider that Lion King has been out for 3 weeks now.
Doesn't matter. People still want to see that movie. That's the power of these Disney films. So yeah, that was $38 million this week. That adds to a $431 million total domestic right now.
Yep, as we noted last week, it definitely hit the $1 billion mark.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And yet there's more to come.
Meanwhile, #3, Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood made another $20 million, adding to it a respectable $78 million domestic right now.
That'll
hit 100 probably next week, which is pretty good.
Yeah, usually these last couple films have hit 100 mil.
Yeah,
it's solid.
3 weeks to do it is not bad.
I think his budget was for this one was like 40 million, 30 million.
So it'll easily make.
So that's a profit.
Make its money back. Mm-hmm. #4, Spider-Man: Far From Home, still earning that money, $7 million, adding to its $360 million domestic total. Yeah, those Marvel movies always have legs.
Yep, that one's got some nice legs.
Speaking of legs, Disney rounds out the top 5 again. Toy Story 4, another $7 million as well. That's sitting at $410.
Yep, and as we noted last week, that surpassed the previous record of Toy Story 3, is currently the highest thing Pixar has put out, gross-wise.
Which, if you're saying that, and at the same time, Lion King has like $20 million more.
Right, it came out the week after.
Which is insane. Like, yeah, I don't...
Right, but you hear people say, what's with all these remakes?
Why
do they got put them out?
Like that $sign,
yeah.
Son.
Considering that they topped their previous record last year, halfway through the year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say all you want about it online and in your blogs and like to people on the street, but the only talking that Disney cares about is at the box office with your dollars.
Yes. All right, well, if you're wondering what's going to hit the charts next week...
What's coming out this week?
Here are your new releases. We've got a bunch of stuff. Something for everyone? Question mark.
All right, what am I watching?
First up, The Art of Racing.
I actually may check this out.
Is this NASCAR?
No, this is Formula One, I think.
Okay, Formula One, all right.
Yeah.
Is this like a documentary? Is this fictional?
This is based off a book.
Okay.
And it stars a dog.
Wait, back up. This movie's about a dog?
Yeah, it's about a dog.
Is the dog driving the car?
No.
Okay.
But the dog is voiced by Kevin Costner.
Wait, okay, that's still not answering the question. How is this movie about Formula One driving about a dog?
So it's about a guy it's about the guy's life, but it's basically like Marley and Me.
Oh, is this the one that's narrated by the dog?
Yes.
I just saw a trailer for this. I didn't know it was a Formula One movie. All I saw was the bit, like, that, so saying that the dog was narrating the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the dog puts his face on the Amanda Seyfried's stomach, is like, I hope it looks like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that part.
Yes.
I didn't pick up at all that this is a racing movie called The Art of Racing.
Yeah, it's called The Art of Racing. It stars Milo Ventimiglia as the driver, and then Kevin Costner as the dog, and Amanda Seyfried as the girl.
The Art of Racing is a terrible name for that movie.
It's probably what the book is called.
Yeah,
but the dog's name is Enzo,
I have a
after
question.
Enzo
Is the
Ferrari.
Book also, I get it. Is the book also narrated by the dog?
Maybe.
I mean, it would have to be, right? Because that's
It'd
a
be
weird
from the dog's
choice.
perspective.
Yeah, that's a weird choice if it's not. But if it's from the dog's perspective, you don't get any racing scenes then, right?
Oh, no, you get racing scenes.
The dog can't follow him into the car.
Yeah.
The dog can be in a car.
The dog goes in the dog, is a part of the journey.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there and say that seems extremely unsafe for the dog.
Yeah. Oh no, the dog's not like a part of the actual like team racing. He's just the
I
dog.
asked if he's in the car.
Well, there's shots of him in a car driving with Milo Ventimiglia.
But not a Formula One car.
No, not a Formula One
Okay,
racing car.
that's what I needed clarification on. That is not a place where a dog should be.
No. I believe no animals were harmed in the making of that film.
I mean, let's hope not. Okay, that's it. We've talked too much about the art of racing.
I may
Next
see
up-
that because it is racing and it is a dog.
Okay.
Mostly because it's a dog and then it's kind of it's racing.
Brian Banks. What is Brian Banks? That is also the name of a film that's coming out next year.
Yes, this is. This is based off of a true story about a college football player who
Named Brian Banks?
Named Brian Banks,
Okay,
actually.
got it. All right.
Yeah, good pickup on
Following.
that. Yeah, so
Following.
you got me so far. It's about a college football player named Brian Banks
Uh-huh.
who is wrongfully accused of sexual assault and is put in jail for 10 years.
Okay, somebody needs to be saving Mr. Banks.
And yes, someone does save Mr. Banks, but while he's fighting the conviction, he also has the dream of playing in the NFL.
Got it.
So it's him fighting the legal system in order to pursue that dream of being in the NFL.
Got it.
Spoiler alert, he actually does end up in the NFL
Okay.
and was, like I said, wrongly convicted.
Right. Okay.
That's your spoiler on Brian Banks.
Yeah, but if it's based on a real thing, then people should know that already.
Yeah, it's the main character is played by Aldous Hodge, who was in Friday Night Lights. He was also in Leverage, the TV show, and he was also in Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, okay.
He's one of my favorite actors that I always see around,
Yeah.
but is never in anything.
Right.
But I like him.
Okay.
He's also got a cool name, Aldous Hodge.
Cool. As for the movies that you probably have heard of, one amongst them is Dora and the Lost City of Gold. This, of course, is the Nickelodeon Films live-action adaptation of Dora the Explorer, but with a time jump where Dora is a teenager in high school and somehow gets roped into a journey to the
adventure.
Lost City of Gold.
An adventure.
Yes, an adventure. It seems like they're really going for the tone of those that Jumanji movie.
Yep.
And kind of trying to get, I guess,
There's-
people who grew up with Dora the show.
To take their kids.
No. I don't think we're there yet.
Oh, okay.
Dora was a little after our generation. So,
They still have kids.
yes. Maybe.
I don't know if those kids are like
Mhm.
of age to watch.
Let's just say that those people that grew up in the Dora, like watching Dora when they were very young, are probably in the 18 to whatever demographic now.
How old are we? How old are they?
We're older than that.
Yeah, I know
Believe it or
that.
not. We're out of that demo.
Yep.
18 to 25 is no longer us.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Sad,
That's
really. Anyway,
sad-
but
sad
yeah,
news.
I imagine that that's kind of what they're going for here. I have no interest in this, but I'm sure it'll do okay.
You know what's gonna happen after this weekend?
What?
Dora's gonna look at straight at the eyes and say, "Do you know where the box office went?"
So you don't think this is going to do
No, I don't think this will do well.
This thing's going to bomb?
I have a feeling this thing
This
will
is kind of
bomb.
not a great week, though, like, box office-wise. Unless, of course, you want to get into The Kitchen with Melissa McCarthy.
Dun dun dun.
All I know is that this is Melissa McCarthy.
It's Melissa McCarthy. It's Elizabeth Moss. No, Melissa McCarthy, Elizabeth Moss, and what's her name? The How to Get Away with Murder lady. Main character. Come on, help me out here.
I don't. I'm not
Viola Davis.
Yes.
Yes. Those are three housewives who live in Hell's Kitchen, New
The
York.
Kitchen. Yes.
The kitchen, and while their husbands are in jail, they decide they need to make money, and so become enforcers, and basically take back their part of town.
Ah.
They take back Hell's Kitchen from the gangsters, and
Got
that's
it.
why it's The Kitchen, but it's their story. I don't know if this is based off real events or not. So far, none of the trailers have said based on a true story, so I'm guessing not.
Who knows?
But this is also Melissa McCarthy wanting to be the dramatic actress.
Okay.
Here's my real take on semi-real events, trying to be a serious actor, making that turn.
Well, I have to credit Ken Jennings on Twitter for this joke, but if you couldn't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Aha.
All right.
Aha. Give me that.
It's funny. Then lastly this week, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the film adaptation of course, the classic anthology for children. Children? Question mark?
Children?
The Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark that a lot of kids got frightened of.
Not to be afraid of, not to be confused with Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No, not the Nickelodeon show, but yes, this was a book that a lot of kids owned, which was Scary Stories, and it was paired with really horrifying illustrations that I think still haunt children to this day as adults.
I do believe they are quite haunted by it.
I did not grow up with this. I don't think my parents opted in to that.
I was not, though. They were not on the suggested reading for Scholastic.
No. However, I know a lot of people personally
drives.
that are my age that did grow up with this book.
Okay.
So I know that it's a very popular touchstone to a lot of people. And yeah, this might actually do okay because a lot of people have nostalgia for this.
All right. Big
We'll
question.
What's
going to be number one?
I don't know what's number one. I think this is a tough call. I mean, The Kitchen, Melissa McCarthy, at one point, fairly recently, was a box office guarantee. So she could...
Right, but that was in a comedic genre. This is not that.
The Kitchen, give The Kitchen some heat. But as for the battle between Scary Stories and Dora... I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people still saw Dora. I'm not ready to give Scary Stories the
Here's my hot take. Hobbs and Shaw takes week 2 at number 1.
Just carries over.
Because it has
60 though.
It's gonna hit 30 though.
Yeah, 30's not gonna be enough if people are still seeing The Lion King.
Right.
To the tune of $38 million.
Right, which means that this will be about 32 at a 48% drop, and the other 5 movies coming out this weekend are all going to cannibalize each other.
I don't know if that's true. Dora has the advantage of having the audience guarantee. It's got a wider audience.
Dora has the family advantage.
Yeah,
yes,
a PG movie.
I don't know if it's a $30 million plus advantage though.
Yeah, and I hate going off the ratings thing because I not famously, because no one watches the show, but that's how I got Deadpool wrong.
Well, that's how we both got Deadpool wrong.
Because we both were like,
it's R.
Many people are going to see the R-rated movie.
Right, it's R-rated movie.
And we were way wrong about that, so I don't know if ratings
we didn't realize how many
anymore.
Deadpool fans were actually out there.
So yeah, who knows? But yeah, I'm going to maybe give the... Oh, you know what? Fine. I'm going to go with Dora. I bet Dora's your number 1.
All right. I'll take the Hobbs and Shaw repeat.
All right. Let's move on then, because those are your new releases, which means we get to talk about... Well, before we move on to news, did you watch any movies this week?
I did not.
Yeah, you do not have Hobbs and Shaw on here. So
I was planning on seeing Hobbs and Shaw this weekend, but my time this weekend got taken up by something else.
Okay.
Which we'll talk about later.
We'll get to it, I'm sure.
We'll get to that thing eventually.
Yes.
Madden, for those of you waiting. Yeah, but we'll get to that at the end.
Didn't have to spoil it. But yeah.
Spoilers. They know what I'm playing. I streamed that thing.
I saw a movie that came out in calendar year 2019.
Oh, what did you see? What did you catch up on?
You're not going to expect this one. I watched the movie Ugly Dolls.
I am shocked. I'm shocked you knew that came out this year.
That came out this year. I know. What a weird year. Yeah, I saw Ugly Dolls. A DVD copy of Ugly Dolls.
I believe this was with your niece?
No. Weirdly enough.
Oh, this is with your girl.
Girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
okay, you're a librarian. Go on.
So Ugly Dolls. I'm not going to go too long because we have a long show to get through. All I will say is that it's fine. It's cute. It's not as... I was expecting the Emoji Movie. It's not that bad.
Okay.
It's better than the Emoji Movie.
Is it like Storks?
Yeah, it's around kind of the ballpark of Storks. Storks, I think, is a little better because it's got better jokes and it's got more an emotional hook. This is like 75% like, oh, fun musical movie for kids a la Trolls.
I was going to bring up Trolls next.
And then the last 25%, the last act of this film really takes a turn that reminded me a lot of the Illumination movies, like Secret Life of Pets and stuff, where it's like, oh, okay, this is telling this other story now that's like a little bit more adult, less kid-friendly, but still, I guess, entertaining for kids. And then it all wraps up in a nice little package.
Okay.
So it's an okay movie. I mean, the cast is half the reason to see it. Because Kelly Clarkson as the lead is really charming. Pitbull is a dog. Do I need to say more than Pitbull is a dog? It's fun for kids. I would recommend if you have a kid that's old enough to, like, take some light violence near the end. Like some, some smacking about.
Some animated violence.
Some robot violence as well. Like, if your kid is old enough to appreciate that, and also not have outgrown musical movies, which I know, like, where is that, like,
kids outgrow musical movies?
It happens. Not does, but it happens. But yeah, there's some sort of age group, age bracket that's within. And if that's your kid, then absolutely rent a copy of Ugly Dolls and check it out.
And if it's not, you uncultured swine.
Go to your library, check it out. I'm not going to recommend you spend money on it. It's not that urgent. But if it ends up on a streaming service soon...
Is that a plug?
Yeah, go to your local library. That's my recommendation for life, really. I mean, you can get so much out of your local library.
I know. Everything there is basically free.
I mean, yeah, ebooks, freaking audiobooks. Like, there's a wealth of things I don't think people know about libraries.
Oh, well, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Ugly Dolls, it's fine. Watch it with your kids. It's a fun time.
Okay, I'll wait to have kids to watch it.
Yeah.
No, not really. I think I'm gonna catch it when it gets to streaming.
Maybe it's streaming. It's something you can watch in the background in streaming.
That's what I figured. That I'm gonna put it on while I'm cooking dinner and then casually listen to it
But yeah, that's my review. Ugly Dolls, not bad.
Okay.
All right, let's move on then into movie news. Now that we've got our thoughts out of the way.
Move aside thoughts. We have news to cover.
We have news to talk about. First up, we have news about the Sony Venomverse.
I guess we have to call it Venomverse, not Spider-Verse.
It's its own thing.
Yeah. So, because Sony still holds all the licensing deals to the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery of Villains, they need to do something with that.
So, and of course they did something with it with 2018's Venom.
Yes.
Which came out to a lukewarm success, I guess you should say.
It's a bit
surprising box office, but critically was not lighting things on fire.
It's been about a year. Came out last October, starring Tom Hardy. Middling reviews, but it had moderate success at the box office.
Yeah, but Sony probably has higher hopes for Venom 2, Venom Dos. Sony has officially signed Andy Serkis to direct the sequel to the 2018 film. The film will once again star Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock / Venom. This will be Andy Serkis' third directorial effort, behind 2017's drama Breathe and 2018's Netflix movie Mowgli Legend of the Jungle. His expertise with CG and performance capture technology, which is why he's famous, is one of the main factors that landed him the gig, of course. The ending of the first film set up a sequel with Cletus Cassidy, a.k.a. Carnage, in a last-minute cameo by Woody Harrelson. So expect Woody to be your main villain in this one?
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay.
Depending on what characters they decide to use.
Yeah.
It definitely set it up for Carnage to appear in the upcoming film. Eddie Serkis worked with Woody Harrelson on the last Planet of the Apes movie, I think.
That sounds right.
He was, the War for Planet of the Apes. Interesting take in getting Andy Serkis. I mean, yes, most of it is probably going to be motion captured. So I can see why they go that way.
We don't necessarily think of him as like mainstream action film director yet.
Not
this
yet,
might
though.
Be what he's hoping to be his springboard.
Yes, but consider the directors he's worked with.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's picked up something along the way.
Yeah, he has experience, I'm sure. So, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But if you're less hyped on new action movies, instead want to enjoy a classic action movie from 20 years ago.
What? 20 years ago? What was that? 90. Wait, that's 2000? 99?
1999.
Okay,
indeed.
1999.
And of course, the biggest action movie, the most memorable and important, you could say, action movie from that year was none other than
Wild Wild West.
No, The
Oh.
Matrix, of course. And it's been 20 years since the sci-fi genre changer graced the screens. And guess what? It's coming back to theaters.
It's getting a 20-year anniversary re-release?
Sure is. Beginning August 30th, you can experience it at 135 select AMC theaters, where it can be seen remastered in Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos sound. The Matrix earned 4 technical Oscars back in 2000 and inspired a generation of filmmakers that followed. It's interesting because I was actually thinking about doing a Matrix rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
This would be a good venue to do that.
I'm actually kind of excited to see The Matrix back on the big screen. Especially since, it kind of effectively ended practical effects and gave us to the boom of visual effects.
It was part of the bridge. Yeah. I think that you're half right there. It was along with a bunch of other movies that came out in '99 was like a turning point where you started. I think that and the Phantom Menace. I think if you combine The Matrix and Star Wars Phantom Menace,
which was also '99,
you see the pivot. You see the pivot where a lot of practical stuff was still involved in the production, but you also saw both movies take real advantage of the things that CG could only do, and then from there on, directors were like, all right, CG.
Right, because as soon as Matrix came out, you had Peter Jackson immediately go into production on Lord of the Rings after that, seeing what CG could do.
On CG.
And then when that won the Oscar, it basically solidified that CG is here to stay.
Yeah.
We could only expand from this because the year before, Lord of the Rings Return of the King won for Best Film. The year before that was Spider-Man, which came out in 2002.
Yeah.
And that basically broke all kinds of box office records. Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. And here we are, literally 20 years later, with Spider-Man Far From Home and some of the best CGI I've ever seen.
Yeah, and The Lion King.
The Lion King, which is literally one shot, is not CG. The entire film is CG, and just how far we've come in 20 years. It's great.
Yeah.
Introspective.
So you guys don't need us to tell you how important The Matrix was. But if you do want to see it again, or like me, have never seen it on the big screen, I actually missed it in theaters because I was, 9 years old. So I saw it on a DVD for the first time.
I believe I watched it in theaters, but I also believe my dad said,
That is
close your eyes several times during the theater.
Very inappropriate. But yeah, actually, you know what? I remember when I saw it the first time, I had a thought, you know what? This movie's barely R. I think it was R because they were probably, I think some of the...
they literally put a gun next to someone's head and say, dodge this, and blow his heads out.
There's that, yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe that will give you your hard R. Also,
Fine.
naked Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, yes, I know. But, overall, though, it is...
Oh, no, it's pretty tame.
It's not a harsh
to
R.
what
It's
R
a
could
pretty
be.
okay R. I would even say if you have a teenager that's circling the 16 ballpark, the 15, 16, and they know, and they're mature enough to, if they play a video game that's kind of like a shooter or something, it's not going to shock them. I think The Matrix is perfect for that kind of thing.
It will definitely be interesting to see if they decide to update any of the graphics on it.
I would be surprised if they did. I think this will be the original theatrical.
Okay.
I could be wrong though. Let's move
like
on.
I said, they are at least redoing the sound for
Atmos.
For Atmos.
Yeah, but that's different. That's straight up
theater experience.
Yeah, not changing anything.
Right.
All right, that's it for movie news. So that brings us into the wonderful world of the small screen. Yes, we're talking about television. We always start television.
Real quick, there was news that broke today that Disney was canceling a bunch of Fox stuff. However, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah,
because we've got Disney coming up here first. But first,
sports, and in the sports corner this week, football is officially starting. Well, preseason football, that is, as the first week of preseason is this weekend.
Yes, technically Super Bowl. The Hall of Fame game was
Right.
last Thursday.
Yes.
But that is always a week prior to the actual start of football. So, well, not the actual start, because that is the actual start, but the week prior to the games going live. Or exhibition games, preseason
Sure.
games,
Yes.
week 1 preseason.
What you will.
Which is this week, starting tomorrow, I believe. We have Raiders and Rams on a Thursday night football.
So if you care about preseason, if you want to get an idea of how you're going to do your fantasy draft this year,
Well,
watch these games.
Yes, if you want to see who's going to potentially make the roster,
Yeah.
who wants to be a standout player, or who gets injured so you don't draft them.
Exactly. Yeah. Be aware.
So you
about
can
that.
be prepared.
Be prepared, like Scar tells you to. Also in sports, the what? This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it does.
Is this talking about December?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Well, if you're a basketball fan and you want to know future games.
Future games. Future
Future
games.
games.
Not games starring Future.
No. The rapper Future is not playing any of these games. However, on Christmas, there are special basketball games, and they have decided what they will be this year.
Yes. In 5 months from now, we will have... Wait, 4 months?
Yeah.
We're in August.
I know, Jesus Christ, right?
4 months from now, we know who will be playing Christmas Day on the NBA. As is tradition.
Yeah.
As is tradition.
Tradition.
The NBA puts on 5 stellar basketball games, so you just sit in front of the TV and watch basketball literally all day.
Yeah.
And they got some big games for us this year.
We have the New Orleans Pelicans against the Denver Nuggets.
This
for
will
one.
this will be number 1 pick Zion Williams'
Yes.
Christmas debut, and basically should be his coming out party to the NBA, saying, "I am Zion Williams.
This
Hear
is what
me
I can do."
roar.
Yeah.
This is what I can do." Because literally all eyes will be on these games.
Yeah.
Most sports fanatic eyes will be on
Yes.
these games.
We also have the Houston Rockets against the Golden State Warriors, who
This-
are fresh off of a loss for the big championship.
Yeah, the NBA Finals. This is also a repeat of the Western Conference Finals.
Aha. We also have the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
The Milwaukee Bucks were in the Eastern Conference Finals, but lost to the Toronto Raptors, who would go on to win the NBA championship.
And
This is your MVP, Kunta Kempo,
yes,
in the NBA game.
the aforementioned Toronto Raptors will themselves be facing the Boston Celtics.
This is a classic East matchup because the Toronto Raptors are the NBA champions. They kind of automatically get a Christmas Day game because people want to see them play.
Yes. And then lastly, a freeway battle with the LA Lakers and the LA Clippers.
Not really a freeway
really a
battle
freeway
if they're in the
battle.
same stadium.
It's like down the street.
No, they're in the same stadium.
Oh, that's right.
They're both at
Forgot they play at
Staples.
the same stadium.
Yes. On Christmas Day, we get the battle for LA.
Yes.
The LA Clippers take on the LA Lakers, which both teams have garnered several new players on their roster, including the Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard on the Lakers. Or no, I'm sorry, on the Clippers, going up against Anthony Davis, newly acquired Anthony Davis, and LeBron James on the Lakers.
Ooh.
So these are some really big games
games.
coming up for Christmas, and it's got me excited for basketball.
Apparently. If you're less excited about basketball and more excited about dodgeball, well then turn on ESPN 2 today, or should I say ESPN 8?
Yes, because as is tradition for the past 3 years now, ESPN2 has decided to become ESPN 8, the Ocho, on the first Wednesday of August,
Okay.
the 8th.
Yes. Well,
Well,
It's
it's
the 7th.
The 7th.
They're
but
close enough.
Yeah, typically it's 8/8, but they do it the first Wednesday instead. But yeah, so you could have watched or recorded some spectacular oddities in gamings, or in games, in competitions.
as well as, of course, a screening of the movie Dodgeball.
Well, it is the Disney-fied censored version
Yeah,
of
the TV
Dodgeball.
cut of Dodgeball.
Oh, every time I saw a TV cut, I was like, "Thank you, Disney! Thank you, Disney!
Yeah.
Thank you, Disney!"
I love it.
Uh,
No one gets hit as hard with a wrench,
No, but you must dip, dive, duck, dodge, and
etc.
dodge.
All the above. So yeah, I don't know. That's not really sports, but that's in here too.
I don't know, but they had Joe's Marbles Run on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny.
I recorded that for
just a moment ago. The actual dodgeball.
Yes, they started for 24 hours with a showing of dodgeball, and then all the sports oddities, and ended with the USA Canada dodgeball tournament, and then another showing of dodgeball, and that will be it.
All right. Well, that's it for sports. Unless you have anything else to add to sports section here.
No, not really. I gotta. Yeah. No,
Okay.
just fantasy sports is coming up.
Yes, it is.
Hard Knocks, but we'll talk about that in a second.
We'll talk about that in a second. As first, we have to get to television news. First up, yes, we already talked about it briefly, but Disney has been making some more announcements about their streaming plan.
So, if you were unable to watch ESPN2 because you don't have it, well, you can get it. Bundles!
So yeah, you can already get it via ESPN Plus, ESPN streaming service, but guess what? We knew it was coming, and here it is. Disney is bundling their streaming options into one nicely wrapped package.
So, what do we get?
Alright, you will soon be able to get Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. Don't get too excited, it's Hulu with ads.
Oh. So it's Hulu Basic.
Yeah, for $12.99 a month.
So $13 a month.
Yeah.
That's still over $100 a year. But what am I getting, actually?
So this is cheaper than, or on par with, competitive streaming services, Netflix and Amazon Prime.
I believe Netflix is at
Yeah,
$13 a month.
They are.
And then Amazon Prime comes with your Amazon Prime for $100.
Yeah, so...
So,
I think there is also a way to get it a la carte, and I think it is cheaper.
Okay.
I think it's $9.99.
Okay.
Anyway, Disney Plus by itself will start at $6.99 a month, while Hulu is currently priced for that ad tier at $5.99. And ESPN, by the way, is $4.99 a month. So technically, you're saving about $5 for the bundling.
So technically, they're just throwing in ESPN for free.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. The main question that remains, of course, is the international markets, as ESPN and Hulu are not available in certain places like Canada, where there are regional licensing issues. CEO Bob Iger said the company doesn't have, quote, anything to announce right now in terms of adding or subtracting markets.
Yeah,
Unquote.
it is interesting because Hulu, not all of content on Hulu is available in Canada.
Yeah.
And then goes for double overseas. As we noted, when Disney was making its big purchase of Fox, they had to do two separate sales for their domestic in the U.S. They had to sell all of their sports packaging, and then for the international side, they had to sell a lot of the educational stuff and news stuff for international markets.
Yeah. So my thought here is that what does this mean for the future potentially of Hulu as a service? This sounds to me that Disney is going to really take advantage of their ownership stake and now act like Hulu is a Disney property. But what does it mean to the other tiers, though? Like, is there a bundle? Is there going to be a bundle down the line for somebody like me who's a crazy person who has the live tier? Is there a future in which me subscribing to the live tier could also net me Disney Plus?
Possibly.
It could happen.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, since it's already, they know that, like, people who are in the live tier of Hulu are power users.
Right.
It wouldn't surprise me if they wanted to sweeten the pot a little bit. Get people to move to them off of services like Sling and YouTube TV.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I could also see them just using Hulu for TV services, full stop, and move it, because we know that Comcast and Warner Bros. Are going to be taking not just their streaming services off of it,
but
their
programming.
programming and films as well.
Yeah.
Because Hulu does films.
Yes. So it'll be really interesting to see if Hulu is still a viable option for live networks, if those networks still want to play ball.
Right.
It's a really big question mark about how Hulu is going to shake out in this Disney deal. And, it remains to be seen.
Yeah, as we noted in these last couple of weeks that both Warner Brothers and NBC pulled Friends will be pulling Friends and The Office from Netflix to start their own streaming services.
Yeah.
I assume they'll be doing the same with Hulu. But that is to say, they still own a stake in Hulu, though.
Right.
So maybe they'll just only do live stuff there, and then all their instant streaming, on-demand stuff on their own stuff.
A lot of big question marks when it comes to
That's a lot of
all this stuff.
It's a lot of different deals they could work around here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options at play, is what we're trying to get around here.
Yes. One thing, though, that streaming saves you from, well, I guess except for this Hulu tier, though, is advertisements.
Well, okay. It saves you from advertisements, but it saves you mostly from the time of advertisements.
And the time of advertisements is something we talked about on this very podcast way back in 2017.
We were around for that.
Yes, this is a follow-up story, technically, because we reported way back when on a story about how Viacom CEO Bob Bakish had said that their company's commercial minutes were too damn high, to borrow a term, and that the networks that they owned were going to cut down, supposedly, on commercial time.
Yes, we noted that he felt that in order to obtain viewer retention, that some of the programmings, like we noted TBS, TNT, CBS, were going to cut down on commercial time in order to give you more programming time.
So, now here in 2019, 2 years later, let's do a little checkup.
Oh, right. Come back to the doctor after 2 years.
Yep.
How's my tumor doing?
Not good.
Damn it.
Guess what? Not only did Viacom say this back in the day, by the way, NBC Universal and Time Warner also said this after they were acquired, of course, by Comcast and AT&T, respectively.
Right. This was part of their deals, their reason to make the deal, saying that if we're all in one, that means we can have less ads, and that's actually a good thing for the consumer.
Well, guess what? Currently, Viacom, what do you know, has the most commercial time out of everybody, with over 14 minutes every hour. Over the course of last year, commercial time as a whole rose 1% every quarter on every network except for Fox, which actually kept its promise and cut its ads by 2% during the year.
That may be because they were selling.
Shh, don't tell them that. Media companies are adding more commercials because sponsors are more sensitive to price increases than to network times allowed for commercials. However, too many commercials is, of course, a top 5 reason people cancel their cable TV service. Still, if you can believe that. Because, quote, if you have to wait 6 minutes for your content to come back, you could just quickly switch over to Netflix or Hulu, says CRO of Turner, Howard Schimmel.
That's Chief Research Officer of...
Yes.
Yeah, Turner.
So this is weird because, like, in this age of where you are paying for services that are ad-free, like your Netflixes, then there's not as high of an argument you can make for the abundance of ads on regular-ass television. It's a harder sell. So people are going to look at the constant stream of advertisements, especially if the breaks are super, super long, and they're going to be like, well, why am I bothering when I can just watch this ad-free tomorrow?
Well, it's also a matter of time, because what's quicker? 300 seconds of ads on live TV, or 30 to 180 seconds on the streaming service.
Yeah, especially with streaming services like Hulu, barring a lot of the networks from creating ad breaks that are longer than 180 seconds. It's an interesting argument that I think comes up a lot when you talk about cable cutting. And the big corporations are not keeping their promises to keep it down.
This is weird. This is a little weird and off subject, but notice that these are not necessarily the cable companies themselves.
Right.
Not necessarily Verizon. These are corporate overlords of the channels. This isn't Verizon, Spectrum, Cox. They aren't those cable companies or ISPs or
because they have no power
utilities
over what the content creators do.
Right.
Ultimately. So this is a content issue, and I don't know if it's going to change or when. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, it'll change when they go streaming because they can get their funding directly. But how much of their funding?
That, especially when you're talking about, especially live sports, which are probably the most lucrative.
Yeah, yes.
Of everything, especially stuff like championship games, like the Super Bowl.
Live sports deals are the most lucrative.
So
even YouTube this past month or in the next couple of months have been having a special free game of MLB baseball to try and get you to sign up for YouTube TV. Like, hey, we have sports too, so you can watch it for free on YouTube, and then try and get them to convert to streaming just on YouTube.
But yeah, I would bet though that like it's still lucrative enough just for those special event shows that they're not going to rely on streaming to get that ad revenue.
I'm thinking of a different aspect of how they get the revenue is that they put the ads in the show.
Yeah, a lot more product.
More product placements.
But
Or
that's the thing is, I feel like we've had this same conversation for the last decade.
Oh, we have.
I remember this coming up 10 years ago because in college I literally did a paper about product placement in television shows, where I talked about some of the more egregious examples, and maybe some of the examples that treated it better. My favorite, of course, being whenever 30 Rock would do one, because they were also always really clever with it, like the Snapple stuff in like season 2, and the McFlurry stuff in season 4, and of course the Slanket.
The Slanket.
But yeah, it's like, so this conversation has been happening for a decade now. It's never going to stop. But streaming does add a unique wrinkle to this, so we'll see how it all pans out once every company has their streaming service in 2020.
And that's coming. That's literally months away.
Around the corner. Let's move on then. That is it for television news, which means we get to talk about thoughts. What is some television that you've been watching?
Okay, so I have 2 sports programs that I think we should get through first.
Okay, all right.
Because they're kind of quick and fast.
Okay, quick and fast. I like quick and fast.
Well,
They're both good.
Also because I've only watched the first episode of each.
That also helps.
The first one being Last Chance U. It's back.
I saw this on a list of things that were returning to Netflix this week, and I was like, oh, well, Mike's happy.
Yeah, I am. Last Chance U is back. They are back in independent Kansas, where they're trying to get a trying to win the JCC National Championship.
Right.
It's still good documentary. I still love it. They have some returning characters back, mainly not just in the coaching staff, but also in the players. I love the storylines. I love that it's also only 8 episodes. Yeah. So they're quick, 8 hours, digestible, able to binge it on a weekend if I want to. But it's back. I love it. Hopefully for season 3 they'll go somewhere else because that's what they did with the first one.
Right.
In Alabama, they were there for 2 seasons. They went here for 2 seasons. I can only assume they'll go somewhere else for 2 seasons because otherwise you have players literally trying to go to that one school constantly because they're being featured on Netflix.
Right, exactly.
But what's great about this type of show is that the players on it do eventually go on to actual D1 colleges and into the NFL. Which brings me to my second show, Hard Knocks, where one of the players on that show was featured on the first season of the Netflix series Last Chance U.
So, in case you don't know what Hard Knocks is, we talk about it every year on this podcast.
Yeah, we do.
This is one of your favorites.
Oh, it's one of your favorites, too.
I don't have HBO anymore. I can't watch the season.
Wait, I thought... Is it no longer working?
It doesn't work. I think we both discovered this at the same time, and we couldn't find the password.
Well, that's because the password is no longer with the company because they got bought out.
So yeah, I don't know. I do not have access to it. Anyways, but yeah, in case you don't know, it's behind the training camps of one of the NFL teams, and this year it is the
Oakland Raiders, which is currently in its last season in Oakland before they moved to Las Vegas.
We're not 100% sure, but it looks like that.
Yeah, as long as the stadium is completed on time, they will be in Las Vegas next season. If not, for sure the season after that, because it should be done by then.
We'll see.
But anyways, there's new stories for the Oakland Raiders, because during the offseason they acquired 2 kind of unique players. One being Antonio Brown, wide receiver of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and most people's former number 1 pick for fantasy football, if you're doing PPR leagues. Don't know if that's going to be the same case because Derek Carr's now throwing to him.
Yeah.
But they also picked up Richie Incognito.
Oh, right.
If that name sounds familiar.
It does, actually.
Yeah. Doesn't bring him any good memories, does it?
No.
No. But he is also on the team, and in addition to several rookies trying to make the team. I actually kind of like it this way because in previous years, it was more focused on several rookies trying to make the team. But for the past 3 seasons, they've switched it to just focusing on different players on the team and their experience on training camp. Eventually, it does morph into players trying to make the team about the second or third episode when they finally figure out who actually has a good shot at making the team, and they kind of pivot their focus on them. But I kind of also like it because it gives you an entire aspect of the NFL organization, this one being the Raiders. And yes, there's a lot of drama in this thing. Yes, there's a lot of good music choices and things. There's a lot of good editing in this. I love Hard Knocks. There's a reason it's won multiple Emmys. Always nominated for Emmys.
Yeah.
It's great. I am happy that it is back.
Great. All right. Cool. So, if you got HBO, check that out.
Yes, that is HBO on Tuesday nights.
But that's not the only thing we watched this week.
Well, it's also great because after it's literally recaps the past week in the NFL of what literally just happened. You can watch them play their preseason game, and then the next Tuesday they'll recap that game and everything that led up to it.
Yeah, it's a good companion to preseason football.
Yeah.
I think, in a lot of ways.
It's definitely a good companion. But speaking of a good companion, I know what a good companion is.
Well, what's a good companion?
Well, it's more of like a one-on-one situation.
Okay.
Or rather, a 1-1 situation. Because that's a good companion when you're on a train.
And what kind of train?
A train that just goes on and on and on, kind of like the band train that goes on and on and on.
Yeah, actually, they have not stopped for some crazy reason.
No, they are currently going off the rails on a crazy train.
All right. Get to it.
Okay, we're talking about not football or sports anymore.
No.
But rather a cartoon.
Yes, our favorite here at the Media Boat Podcast. We have a new Cartoon Network original, finally making its series debut after having a short that was successful on YouTube for a few years. Part of their creators program that was spun off and greenlit for a series, and now we finally have it. And yes, that's Infinity Train.
Yes, Infinity Train. Matt, do you know when that short premiered on YouTube?
That seems like a long time ago.
That was 2017. So this is another update story.
So yeah, 2 years ago. But yeah, the creator, Owen Dennis, you may recognize his name as he was a prominent writer for Regular Show, another another Cartoon Network original. And now,
the art style definitely shows that.
Now he has his own created by credit on Infinity Train, and yeah, it's debuted this week. And Cartoon Network's doing a classic
5-night event.
Bomb event where they're just giving you 5 in a row.
Yes.
So yeah.
I don't know if you noticed or read up on it, but the asterisk here is that it is the entire series in these 5 nights. It is 10 episodes long. So by the end of this Friday. I'm sorry to spoil that.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, there's 10 episodes of Infinity Train. 2 a night. It is this week.
Are they planning more? Yet?
Who knows? Don't know yet.
Okay, so it's not that this is like some sort of mini-series. It's just they have not confirmed nor like anything beyond the 10 episodes that exist.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. They were at Comic-Con this past summer. This past Comic-Con event, and they had a panel there, which came to a sold-out show. You know, from a single trailer.
Right, exactly.
That they sold out. In it, Dennis Owens, creator, Owen Dennis. Two first names.
Reversed it.
2 first names. In it, he said that he planned Infinity Train as a 10-episode mini-event. Cartoon Network asked him what he wanted to do. He said he specifically wanted to do 10 episodes that would tell the story he wanted to tell.
Right. Okay.
So As far as we know, it is just these 10 episodes. There could be more if it has a well reception and Cartoon Network wants where he wants to do more.
So, as for what this thing is, it's very interesting to me that you say that this is in kind of presented in a short format, because the premise of the show is one of those premises that you could literally do, as the name implies, forever.
Yes, it's literally called Infinity Train, but you can literally have an infinite amount of universes played out in each train car.
Essentially, the concept here is that young girl, an aspiring game developer
named Tulip.
Yes,
it's a great name, actually.
Tulip, good name. She is on the way to a video game development camp, but she is sidetracked by the fact that her parents won't drive her there. So she decides to go on her own devices, to go see if she can make it. She takes a train, but it's not just any average train. No, it's the Infinity Train. And what she soon discovers is that in a mysterious train, that each car represents its own universe, with its own wacky characters, its own crazy logic, and each car is its own microcosm.
Its own little universe.
Yeah. She also finds out that there is a counting down number on her hand. She doesn't know what it's counting down to. That is also a mystery. So she is left to her own devices with the help of a couple of companions, a robot with two personalities, and a corgi dog who is the king of his realm. And yeah, they're left to kind of discover the mysteries of the Infinity Train.
Yeah, it's kind of cute and kind of interesting. And it has a little bit of that Rick and Morty Infinite Universes in it, but it's not serious.
It's not a satire.
No,
like Rick and Morty often is. Instead, it's more like Adventure Time-ish in that way, where it's presenting this absolute chaos, anything can happen thing, but in a very charming adventure kind of way. Like the show is very about like just creativity and really, and I like the fact that the main character is a amateur video game designer, because it feels like that discovery space of a video game, right?
Yep.
It feels like you've been placed into a game that you're not familiar. Each of these cars is like kind of being placed into a game that you're not familiar. You're trying to figure out the mechanics, the logic of it, and the character in the show is doing just that.
Yes, I really like that she tries to take every car logically and sound and tries to apply the scientific method to figuring out each car.
So that's like one half of the show, but then the other half of the show is also really interesting. She's also a teenage girl who is dealing with teenage girl problems, but instead of being the typical teenage girl problems you might assume they would be, like friends issue and boys, and no, her issues are actually her family issues, as her parents have recently divorced.
Or the process.
Have divorced or something. It's not really clear exactly where in the process this is taking place, but they are separated and they're only, like, they're still talking to each other.
And it's really affecting her.
It's affected her. Speaking as somebody who had this happen to them at pretty much the same age, around 16, 17, it's very realistic take.
Yes, 13, 16, 17.
Yeah, it's a very realistic take on that process and the feelings you have when you are growing up, always having known your family dynamic in a certain way and have that immediately change one day. It reflects that really powerfully, and it's really interesting so far in the 4 or 5 episodes we've watched so far.
Yeah, 5 episodes.
That have how they've balanced and made it matter in the world of a show that they could literally do anything with.
Yes.
You have the two sides balanced in a way that's really, really cool. It's not overly melodramatic, even though, surprisingly, the first 10 minutes of the first episode are incredibly dramatic.
Yes.
And I did not see that coming. But it does well with like balancing the kind of this wonder and creativity of the space of the Infinity Train and the mystery of that with these emotional things she's dealing with.
A tear may have come to your eye, but that's not the onions talking.
Yeah.
No, it definitely has some emotional impact, and it's definitely driving home a point. And I think that's kind of why it's only meant to be 10 episodes, because there is an end goal that the creator's trying to go to. Being 5 episodes in, halfway through, I can see where it's going. I can also see why this isn't something that needs to be 40, 50 episodes when there's a clear end goal that needs to hit.
I can easily see this being the structure of this show.
I can see this being an anthology.
Well, what I was going to say is maybe that, but what I was actually going to say was the structure of the show reminds me a lot of the structure of these animated shows that you're seeing on streaming networks.
Yes.
The vibe of it seems like it's definitely learned things from the structure of something like BoJack Horseman, or I don't know, name another one of those, like maybe Netflix's She-Ra.
She-Ra,
like something that's built for
Voltron.
Streaming. Yeah, like something like Voltron.
Yeah.
Something that's built for streaming that they know they have a limited time to tell their story in. It reminds me the vibe. And,
Avatar.
And yeah, the way that they're kind of referencing things from previous episodes reminds me a lot of something like a Netflix show. And I think that that's really cool and unique for Cartoon Networks over. And it's like, it'll be really interesting to see how they tie everything up.
I think that's also why it's a limited event, because these aren't episodes you can just plot in any order randomly.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think some of them...
Well, when the fact that we have a countdown, literally, that they reference...
You do. But for the most part,
to.
though, the mystery and the car thing really offers itself well to a Monster of the Week kind of scenario. And for the most part, that's the structure of the show.
Yeah.
And so I think that they could... What I think that maybe sold Cartoon Network on this concept is that this thing, I think, could be shown out of order. I think you can syndicate this thing. Obviously they don't, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
You could just show this on a Saturday morning because you don't need the through line, you don't need the momentum, but if you are watching them in order, it helps.
Well, let's say that because they keep referencing the number on the hand.
I don't think it's super important, though.
The number does jump around, yes.
We don't know at this point in the series where we're at. We do not know the importance of it,
right.
So it's hard for me to say if it's important or not.
I think I know the importance of it, but I'm not 100% sure. I have a theory, but I also only have 2 days left to watch the whole thing.
Right.
So it's not really prudent of me to say this now and then 2 days later have a big reveal. Yeah.
Or maybe not. Who knows?
It's not like Kingdom Hearts where I have to give my answer 5 years before it actually comes out.
Yeah, but so I think it's really promising so far. I mean, like, if we are only halfway through, then who knows where this thing is to go in the future here. But yeah, we'll definitely be checking the rest of it out.
Oh yeah, I had my doctor watch some of it with me as I was watching it while she was there. The first 2 episodes, night 1, she was kind of annoyed because they kept saying the word train a lot.
They do say
train
a lot.
Wow, that's enough trains. Stop saying train. Why is this train?
Because
it's a train. Yes. But by watching the second episode, because it's the night 2, because the third episode started with basically the basis of the trailer or the first one, she kind of was like, "Wait, this seems familiar. I think I've seen this before."
And then showed her.
I probably showed it to her before. And then when the 4th episode came on, she was like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting now. I'm kind of into this."
Yeah.
Vaguely, and so I'll probably show her the rest of it.
Yeah. I think it's got a really good hook to it. I think it's really interesting. And we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah. I mean, we only have till Friday to watch it.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yep.
All right. That's it for Thoughts for Television, which means
do you watch anything else?
No, that's it. That's all I did.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
It's summer.
Yeah. TV will be coming back shortly.
Soon. Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. First, we got to talk about cancellations and renewals.
All right. What am I no longer watching?
All right. First up. Canceled on FX is Baskets after 4 seasons. I think it's upcoming 4th season.
I believe it's it is currently in the middle of its 4th season.
So that'll be
its episode on the 22nd, I believe, will constitute its series finale.
So that'll be it for Baskets. So
yeah, there's only got like 3 episodes left then for it to be done.
Netflix has also finally brought an end. Oh, that's not maybe the best way of putting it.
No.
To 13 Reasons Why. After its 4th season, it will be done.
its upcoming 4th season
Yeah.
will indeed be its last.
And if I'm to believe the internet, maybe Euphoria ate its lunch. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. CBS's American version of Love Island, the currently very viral, no pun intended, British dating show, that is getting a second season. So we will have more Love Island to come.
Mm-hmm.
Also, no pun intended. ABC
Ha!
is bringing back the Great American Baking Show, the American version, of course, the Great British Bake Off, for its 5th season.
Yes, that will be an upcoming December release. Mid-season. It'll take place in between the seasons.
That sounds like a show that is a mid-season replacement.
Yep.
City on a Hill on Showtime will be getting a second season.
That's your Kevin Bacon in Boston.
Yeah. The 100. All 100 of them on the CW. Canceled after 7 seasons.
That thing went 7
seasons of the 100.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay.
The OA on Netflix. Canceled after 2 seasons. This is notable. I saw somebody on the internet note that the cancellation of the OA means that both of Netflix's currently airing series that were showrun by women have both been canceled. This and Toucan Birdie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not a great look if you're Netflix, if you ask me.
I don't know. Maybe they're just making room for other stuff. Wait, I thought Glow was women run.
Glow is technically not showrun by Jenji Kohan. I think she has a creator credit. I do not believe she is the showrunner.
Okay.
So, yeah. I think she may have given that title up after season 1.
All right.
As is tradition in television showrunning.
Right.
Typically, your creator, if you're the creator, you run it for 1 or 2 seasons, maybe 3, but then you're like, I need to train talent up.
And then you go on to something else.
You move on to something else, do something else. And Jenji has several projects all the time, so I wouldn't be surprised if she was like quick to be like, all right, somebody take care of this.
Right.
All right. Also, The Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise on ABC are both getting renewed. The Bachelorette for a 16th season, and Bachelor in Paradise for a 7th. So more of your favorite reality show.
People keep watching them. People are invested.
Emmy favorite Atlanta gets a 4th season on FX.
Dude, this is a big note here. It'll get a 4th season, but they have yet to shoot season 3.
So
extra
order.
Basically, what's going to happen is as soon as as soon as Childish Gambino decides to finally hang up his mic,
right?
Because he's still out touring.
He's on his last tour, supposedly.
Then he will come back into Atlanta studios.
Yeah,
and
make more Atlanta.
And make both season 3 and season 4 back to back for Atlanta.
Right. We'll
so you won't see season 3 until next year at the earliest, and that will still be a 3-year hiatus.
Yeah. Also on FX, Snowfall also returns for our 4th season.
Hey!
So I don't know if you're watching Snowfall. All I know is that that's the cocaine show.
That's definitely the cocaine show.
The cocaine show. All right.
And last asterisk here for renewals. This wasn't specifically said, but one of the VPs at FX said that if It's Always in Sunny Philadelphia wanted to run forever, they could. Well, he didn't say forever. He said for another 4 seasons, which would make it their
would be forever.
Which would make it their, I think, 19th season.
That's
basically said that it's up to the creators if they want to keep going.
Wow, that's a lot of seasons.
It's probably cheap to make.
I mean, yeah, and I imagine, and structurally, it is kind of a live action The Simpsons.
Yeah.
So they could just run it forever. I don't know.
Well, as long as the creators want to continue doing it, because the creators are also the stars of the show.
Yeah, they might want to do something else.
So as long as they want to be in It's Always Sunny.
Surely Danny DeVito wants his film career back, right?
Dude,
right?
He's probably making $1 million an episode
I know.
for 10 episodes.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a joke.
I know.
Let's move
He's
on.
going where the money is.
Out of cancellations and renewals and into deaths. We got, some rough ones. First up.
All right, what am I no longer watching?
Well, no, more like reading, as famous poet and Pulitzer Prize winner Toni Morrison has passed age 88.
Oh, yeah, this was the big one I saw everywhere.
The rough one, yeah. Author of The Bluest Eye, Song of Solomon, and Beloved, of course. Yeah, she won the Pulitzer Prize back in 1988 and remains a very, very important figure in African American literature.
Yep.
So yeah, she will definitely be missed.
Yeah, that's the big one when they show all the stars at the celebrities at the end of the year.
Yeah, well,
The celebrities who will be missed. This will be one of the top ones.
Then, meanwhile, in the world of sports, Mike Troy, age 78, Olympic champion / world record holder for the 200-meter butterfly, way back in 1960.
Yes, but that record stood
Yeah.
for 20 years until Mark Spitz broke it.
Right.
And then that was broken by Michael Phelps.
Famously.
Which was actually just... The reason I put this in was because that record was literally just beaten last week.
Wow.
During the FINA World Championships.
Yeah.
So we have a new Michael Phelps out there in the water now.
So yeah, needless to say, of course, Mike Troy would be in the pantheon of famous Olympian swimmers.
Yep.
And most famous swimmers of all time. So yeah, definitely, if you're a swimmer, you look up to him as an icon for sure. All right, let's move on out of deaths into something hopefully happier. The world of music, and I hand this to
All right, and we always start music with Billboard. We start the Billboard with the Hot 100, and I think, if I'm not mistaken here,
Yes.
we have the record. We
Continues to be a record.
we forgot our hats and our blowhorns and our...
Well, because last week was the big deal. This week is just, wow, really still?
Yeah. So, no one has decided to, in 18 weeks, take on the champion.
Right.
That is Lil Nas X and Old Town Road.
It is still the #1 single, which means that, yes, it has set a new record. Since 17 was the old new record, 18 is the new record. Unless, of course, he goes for 19 next week.
Will 19 be a new record?
We'll see.
All right.
But
So
yeah,
new
just
record.
keeps keeps raising the bar for whatever single tries to beat this record in the future.
Well, it's an Old Town Road #1, Lil Nas X.
Yep.
#2, still, I think this now holds the record for #2.
Maybe.
Is Bad Guy by Billie Eilish.
Just might.
#3 is Senorita by Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello. #4, Truth Hurts by Lizzo.
Moving up.
And #5, Talk by Khalid.
Yep.
That brings us to our Billboard 200 charts.
A lot of shake-up this week.
Yes. I do believe Old Town Road will be knocked off next week.
Why do you say that?
Because we'll have a new #1 album next week, which will probably have a new #1 song.
We'll see.
All right. Well, before we get to next week and what will probably be #1,
Yeah.
what's #1 this week on the Billboard 200?
You tell me.
The Search by NF.
So I don't know where the hell this came from. I don't know what this is. But man, whatever it is, it robbed Chance of a #1 record.
Well,
and
it definitely did.
I did not see that coming.
No one did, because Chance the Rapper's The Big Day
Yes, #2.
came in at #2. #3 is #6, Collaboration Project by Ed Sheeran.
Yep.
#4, When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go by Billie Eilish. And #5, Indigo by Chris Brown. Is it safe to say Billie Eilish is a hit?
I mean,
this year?
clearly, 100%. If you're going to compile at the end of the year things that made an impact in the music industry, yes, she's on that list.
Okay.
I think right behind Lil Nas X.
So still #2?
Still #2. But still, yeah, right behind Lil Nas X when it comes to impact. Because, yeah, like having both a single and an album that's charted this long is quite a statement.
Especially this high, too.
I could see her surprising a lot of people at the Grammys next year. I would not be surprised.
I'd be surprised. Well, no, I wouldn't be. No, I've yet to hear that perfect album. We've had a perfect album, but this time last year we had a perfect album.
We did, but not every year has its golden hour. You have to remember.
Yeah.
That's a rare occurrence that, one, we can agree on something
Yeah,
like
we can agree on that.
And two, that something that good, makes such a big impact. So, no,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I have some picks of my favorites of the year, but they're not mainstream records like that. So
Okay.
it'll be an interesting year. Also, we have a lot of question marks with bands that have not put out their records yet.
Or artists. Big one being Taylor Swift with her upcoming
Taylor
album.
Swift is to come. I don't know how much of an impact that's going to make, especially considering the year she's had, where she cannot for the life of her, get a single to
Yeah.
chart. So we'll
She
see.
put 3 out of nothing.
Yeah, it's been rough.
Yep.
We'll see.
Well, if she can't chart and if we're looking for a new album, maybe be in this new releases.
All right, what am I listening to this week?
I don't know what you're listening to, but here are the new releases.
Okay.
We have Electric Youth by Emotion.
So I actually
Memory Emotion.
I actually did. Starting this week, I have reversed my order.
Okay, thank you.
So that way it's the same as the before.
Thank you.
So it'll be artist, then
This is Electric Youth with Memory Emotion.
Here you go.
This is Marika Hackman with Any Human Friend.
Mm-hmm.
Rah Rah Riot
Yep.
with Super Bloom. Rick Ross, yes, that Rick Ross,
Yep.
with Port of Miami 2.
It's the sequel.
Slipknot, yes, that Slipknot,
Yeah. All right. Not.
with We Are Not Your Kind.
Did I tell you my favorite story about Slipknot?
Is that deal with CJ?
No, weirdly enough.
Oh.
It's other good stories about Slipknot. No, my favorite story about Slipknot is I was in the car once with my parents and my sister. And my sister is like talking about like, I forget what it was. Talking about like music or something. Oh, I think she had like a CD that she had like either she had burned for somebody else or somebody had burned for her. And one of the bands on that CD was Slipknot. And my sister, in a moment I'm sure of panic, was trying to like assure my parents, like when I think my dad asked, what's Slipknot? She's like, oh, they're a Christian band. And I'm in the back of the car trying to stifle my laughter because I know she's lying. And they
Clearly.
don't know she's lying.
I'm sure they knew she's lying.
I'm just like, no, actually, I bet my parents still don't know what Slipknot
With
is.
a name like Slipknot.
I know, but hey, you know what? There's weirder named Christian bands out there.
Ugh.
Sorry.
You're right.
Anyway, so now I think about that every time I think about Slipknot.
Yes, the Christian band Slipknot with We Are Not Your Kind.
They're not your kind, for sure.
Uh,
That could be
Stru-
the name of a Christian album.
Yeah, We Are Not Your Kind.
Yeah.
Strung Out with Songs of Armor and Devotion.
Okay.
The Regrets with How Do You Love?
Good question.
Question mark. Tori Kelly, yes, that Tori Kelly,
Still trying to make Tori Kelly happen.
with Inspired by True Events.
Right,
Not to be confused with based on true events.
different.
These are inspired by true events. And lastly, Why?
Why?
Why? With A-OK. Oh, I-O.
Sure.
I believe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Or Aoko.
Now a cow.
Aoko.
Yeah.
Aoko. I don't know.
Oh, alright.
Why?
Why?
Why? Why?
I don't know why.
Why? So those are your new releases.
Yeah.
Unless something else decides to pop up. But we have music news.
We
And
sure do.
we're going to start with a sad story here.
Yeah, it's rough. It's a rough one. I mean, it could be worse.
Oh, it could definitely be worse.
But,
But, I mean, yeah.
Alright,
Oh,
what happened?
oh. Okay. So,
There's
Sing.
a lot of weird noises right now.
I don't like
Oh,
talking about
okay.
these stories. But we talk about them every week.
Yeah,
Or
we do.
at least deaths every week.
We do.
But Pink, not the color, which when I Google search
artist.
Pink, the color definitely came
The
up.
artist known as Pink.
Yes, the artist currently known as Pink. Well, a small plane carrying the management team for the singer crashed in Denmark on Monday and burst into flames, according to Danish media, which was cited by the Associated Press. No one was hurt,
Yeah.
thankfully,
That's
the
key,
report
yes.
says. This is key. No one was hurt, noting that the singer was not on the flight. Pink, quote, Pink was not personally on board, but her manager and several other members on the tour she's currently on were on the plane. But it all turned out okay, said Pink's promoter, Kristen Svensson, who told CBS. Pink's manager is Roger Davies, who has also worked extensively with Tina Turner and Cher. This is someone who is big
Yes.
in the touring management.
Yes. So it is a miracle that they all got out unscathed of this, and yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I didn't really look into this, but I saw all the headlines that said management team crashed.
Right, yeah.
I didn't really. I thought that was it. They just crashed and burned.
Yeah,
well, when you see the headline that says plane goes up in flames,
you think that everybody's toast.
Yeah.
But no, thankfully no one was hurt. It's rough, but it's good that everybody survived.
Yep. But
that's not
our only story this week, as we have Universal Music Group. Well, kind of. Chinese digital giant Tencent.
Yep.
If you don't know what Tencent is, they basically own things that you probably own.
Yes.
Or probably watch. They have a lot of stake in literally everything.
Yeah.
Well, they currently have entered negotiations with French media conglomerate Vivendi.
Yep.
To buy a 10% stake in Universal Music Group. Vivendi.
Yeah,
that's
Vivendi,
a name that sounds familiar.
Megacorp that at one point owned a lot of crap, now owns less crap, but still owns more than you think they do. They have a bunch of international stake in the Universal Music Group, even though they are no longer the corporate overlords of Universal.
I believe at one point they also had a stake in Ubisoft.
Correct, yes, which Ubisoft themselves fought back over the last few years and finally survived.
Yes, they were able to buy out Vivendi and hold off a corporate takeover.
But yeah, so this is Vivendi's part of Vivendi's stake that Tencent wants is sought after here. So
right, Vivendi announced the talks on Tuesday, saying that the negotiations were based on a valuation of Universal Music Group at about $33.6 billion.
Yeah, so 10% stake of that.
Yes, 10% stake of that would still be
millions of dollars.
$3.36 billion.
Yes.
The stake, the deal would give Tencent a 1-year option to purchase another 10% stake on the same terms.
Yeah.
Meaning, we'll give you, we'll charge you $3 billion for 10%, and then if you like what you've had so far, for another $3 billion, you can buy another 10% stake, meaning 20% of Universal Music Group could be owned by a Chinese company, Tencent.
Right. So yeah, this is, like you said, part of a recurring theme. This is what Tencent does.
Yep.
Is that they've been trying to own a bunch of creative content, like a bunch of creative content.
It's weird that they're going through Vivendi on this because Tencent is also big in the video game industry.
Correct. Yes, they are.
I believe they're the ones responsible for PUBG.
They own, I believe, a piece of the PUBG Corporation. I believe they own a piece of Riot.
Yeah, I think that's the other one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think they have a piece of Epic, which they actually bought that piece of Epic way back when they had only recently not spun off of being the Microsoft subsidiary. Mm-hmm. They actually did it way before all this Epic Store thing. I bet they're super happy with that investment.
That investment now paid off.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I remember hearing that story at the time. People were confounded. They were like, "Why would Tencent want Epic? All they make is Gears of War, and they're talking about an Unreal Tournament game, but that doesn't seem lucrative." Flash 4. Oh yeah, and I think they had announced Fortnite, but it was still Fortnite saves the world. Nobody knew it was going to be the juggernaut it would become. So it puzzled a lot of people. Now everybody realizes, they saw something nobody else saw, that Epic had a grand 10-year plan, probably, that they were going to expand and be the next Valve.
Who knew? Tencent knew.
Who knew? Tencent knew.
I think someone told Tencent told them, here's what you need to do.
They had to have talked about it in negotiations, surely.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Tencent knew that they had big plans.
I mean, I bet they probably brought up the fact that they wanted to be like Valve and have their own story eventually.
Yeah,
and that's what they basically sold them on.
So yeah, needless to say, the bottom line here is Tencent,
of course, that's all speculation here.
But needless to say, Tencent's after your stuff, is I guess what you should say.
No, Tencent is media tech conglomerate in China.
Indeed.
Who owns literally half the stuff you probably have.
They want to be the biggest company. They want to be one of the bigger media companies in the world.
Literally, they're on par with Alibaba in China. And
speaking of which, Ugly Dolls, by the way, huge co-finance deal with China.
Oh yeah.
In the opening sequence of that thing, the logos just kept coming. There's an Alibaba logo. There's some other logo that I didn't recognize. Like, that thing is 100% you all over it is co-finance Chinese dollars.
Oh, yeah.
The actual film, you can't tell, but like all that opening stuff is like, oh wow, this was the perfect example of if you want to show somebody like the example of how much is co-financed by China. That is the perfect example.
You want to see something that's co-financed by China? Look at any recent Legendary film.
Oh yeah, no, the Legendary stuff. Legendary, that too.
I know, because we reported on Legendary making that big deal with the H brothers, 2H brothers.
Yeah, something.
Hui Entertainment, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Hui.
All right.
That brings us to thoughts, and I listened to an album.
Okay.
I listened to a surprise release Drake album.
Oh, you listened to this care package.
Yes, Drake dropped a care package.
Yes.
For everyone.
Like a video game.
Yes.
This, my understanding about this is basically this is a collection of singles and tracks that were not on his albums over the course of his career from, I believe, 2011 to 2016.
Yes.
But that were maybe released on, like, websites or something, and for whatever reason did not get an album release.
So a lot of this is care package is a compilation of singles and one shots that Drake has done over the course of his career that, for one reason or another, never made it onto any of his specific albums.
Yeah.
He's dropped them, he's performed them, he's released them as promotions for albums, but they've never appeared on an album until now. Now we finally have Drake the Completed Collection. The lost episodes, if you will.
If you will. Drake deleted scenes.
Yeah. Which somehow this still ended up being like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, because Drake is nothing but full of songs.
Yes. And when I listened to this album first, I thought, oh, Drake has a surprise album. I didn't know he was working on something outside of Scorpion. Who knew? I was like, oh, this is great. Then I started listening to it. I was like, this all feels subpar. Do I not like Drake? Is Drake not that good? Am I really not on the Drake train? This can't be right.
Uh-huh.
So I listened about halfway through. I was like, some of this I like, some of this I don't.
Yeah.
One song that stands out to me on this is Draft Day, but it talks about Johnny Manziel and AD.
You're biased, yes, to like that.
Well, yeah, it's talking about Johnny Manziel and AD, not Aaron Donald, but Anthony Davis, because as they were both number one picks of the time 2 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago?
So, there might be a reason why this collection might seem a little...
dated?
Well, not only dated, but like a little unbalanced.
Yeah.
It's because Drake very clearly, now with the power of hindsight, very clearly had a peak and then a slow descent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I imagine probably the stuff that's closer to 2011, near the Take Care era, is probably a little better than the stuff that came later.
It is.
Yeah.
I definitely see, like, towards the end of the album, he gets more into sampling stuff.
Yes.
And a lot more of his, like...
There's a turn. There's a Drake turn.
Oh, yeah.
Where he went from, like, all my songs are, like, kind of depressing and sound like they're recorded in a bedroom, and I'm going to talk about very specific details about my exes. Then it kind of pivoted into, no, instead I'm going to chase trends, I'm going to have more features, and I'm going to go heavier on the beats.
No, you can definitely tell that.
Yeah, you definitely had a right turn, and that's about the time that I stopped caring about Drake.
Yeah, I didn't really care for this album.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume this will be the new number one album because it is Drake, after all.
Right, yes.
Just because it is Drake, I don't know if any of the songs will hit the number one single and bump off Lil Nas X, but because of the name Drake and because it is a new album and will be listed as a new album for him,
I think
people will
will,
listen to it and it will definitely be the number one album next week.
You are correct. But yeah, I might check this thing out because I'm curious about what's in here. But yeah, it would be interesting.
It is interesting. But if there's one album that, if there's an album or at least an artist that can beat Drake at the number one spot, it will be Tool.
Tool.
The band Tool. And the only reason I bring this up now, because you don't have it in your news, is because for the first time ever, the band Tool has put... I have to say it because otherwise it sounds weird saying Tool.
Tool.
Yeah, like Pyro Tool. The band Tool has put their entire discography on streaming services, including Spotify. So I was going through the releases, like 5 Tool albums. Like what?
Yeah.
They just put 5 albums out?
No,
like,
they're not. They're not new. They're old.
No, they're old. But because there is such a dedicated following to them, and they do have a huge influence in the rock scene, that they may get it because it's new streaming. But
no.
I think Drake might have the wider appeal to where Drake's going to be.
Yeah, because I think that there are probably 3 people who will listen to the Drake for every one Tool fan.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
All right. Did you listen to anything?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Then that's it. That's the end of music news and music thoughts. That brings us into...
Which means...
video games!
We get to move on to the most exciting segment.
Oh, yeah.
But we're excited about two very different things.
No, we are excited. Because...
Video games!
We have new releases in video games.
They're
First
not
up,
exciting.
yeah, they are. First up is Pillars of Eternity, Complete Edition for the Switch, and Rebel Galaxy Outlaws for the PC.
That is the sequel to Rebel Galaxy.
I did... Oh.
In case you were wondering.
Okay, well, they're Outlaws now.
Yep.
But let's quickly jump into video game news. All right.
Two very different stories.
Oh, yeah. So, first up, Matt, where do you stream your video games?
Well, I do not personally stream video games, but we here at the MediaBow Podcast, when we stream video games, we stream them on Twitch.tv, the premier place to stream video games, right?
You would think so.
Right?
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 You think so, that when you think of streaming video games, first thing you think of is Twitch.tv.
Wait, I mean Twitch.tv.
Not YouTube
remember
Gaming?
Justin TV?
Yes, but remember YouTube Gaming.tv?
No, it doesn't count.
YouTube.gaming? But, yes, Twitch, most famously is the current streaming place for video games.
Yeah. But
they just lost a huge sponsorship as streamer Ninja, famous from Fortnite Ninja, whose real name is Tyler Belvins, is ditching Twitch for rival streaming platform Mixer.
Yeah.
Do you know what Mixer is?
Mixer is a Microsoft streaming platform.
Did you know about Mixer before this week?
Yes, actually, I did. But that's only because I follow video game news like a total crazy person, and that should not be an average thing. No, so this is probably when a lot of people are going to find out about Mixer for the first time.
This is also the week I found out about Mixer, but not because of this story. Because, as I'll get into, I was trying to stream Madden for the Xbox, and I was like, why is there no, automatic, streaming thing here?
Yeah.
Like, oh, there is. Broadcast to Mixer. The hell is Mixer? I want Twitch.
That's what Mixer is.
And that's what I found out what Mixer is.
So, yeah.
But not by this. Although, when I saw the story, the next day, I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, the super popular streamer Ninja announced the news in a fake press release that he stated that nothing will change in terms of content, but, quote, it's the same me, just on a different platform, he said. Ninja also said that he plans to get back in touch with my roots as it relates to streaming. That's kind of noteworthy because Ninja started out as a popular Halo streamer before going to the newer titles. He's most recently famous for streaming Fortnite, so much so that he appeared in several commercials for Fortnite, mainly for Sprint, when they were advertising their new Galaxy phones.
But that wasn't the only thing, because over the course of the last year, Ninja has kind of become the symbol of streaming, especially streaming Fortnite. He's shown up in television shows across the gamut, whether it be your morning shows. I believe there's an episode of The Simpsons that he's in. Ninja became this cultural figure that represented the juggernaut that video game streaming has become.
Do you want to know how big he is?
How big is he?
My dad knows who Ninja is.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, this is the kind of level of celebrity we're talking about Ninja.
My dad asked me if I knew who Ninja was.
That's funny. But I do want to note, though, the world of Twitch moves quickly.
Oh, yes.
And so it is important to note that he is no longer, even before this deal was inked, the biggest streamer on Twitch. No, he was usurped. That being said, he was the #1 guy so long that culture caught up with him long enough to have him as the center of the world. But no, Twitch people have actually moved on, and there are much more famous and active Twitch streamers for Fortnite now.
He's basically what PewDiePie was to YouTube,
Yeah.
Ninja was to Twitch.
Before PewDiePie shat the bed.
Right.
Microsoft, this move, I think, is smart because they're taking the cultural cachet that Ninja has still mainstream, and so that balances out the minor sacrifice they're making of the fact that he's not as hot as he once was.
Yeah.
So they're basically saying, if we guarantee him some money up front to move to promote our service so that way more mainstream people know that Mixer exists, it is worth it for him to lose his audience because presumably a lot of people will not follow Ninja off of Twitch. People are subscribers to the network, not to the person.
Yes, but all you need is a 10% grab. He has millions of subscribers.
Right.
10% of that will be 1 million new subscribers to Mixer.
You're not wrong. But at the same time, though, the money there is a fraction of what he would have been making if he stayed. The other thing, though, is so this it's important to note that about his choice of game is right now Fortnite. But as the story mentioned,
as I'm going to get to right now,
Microsoft has reasons to encourage Ninja to play their own games, such as the upcoming Halo Infinite.
Yes, Microsoft loves synergy.
Yes.
They want you to play Halo, which is an Xbox exclusive, on Xbox, where you can stream on their service, Mixer, which, going back to how I found about Mixer, is the exclusive streaming service for Xbox. But, yes, anyways, as you were saying, the other news that came out this week, kind of submishing is, the upcoming Xbox release for Halo Infinite, will be coming out next holiday season.
Which we figured because we figured it would coincide with the release of Project Scarlet.
Right. We knew that would be an Xbox whatever day of launch.
Future Xbox game.
Future Xbox day one launch title because that's what Halo is.
So yeah, I would not be surprised if they spend 2020 really pushing Ninja and putting him as a central role in rolling out Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is a new era in Ninja's life and potentially a new era in streaming.
You don't have what his how much he's being paid though.
No, $38.7 million is the number I saw.
How much?
$38.7 million.
Just to go on Mixer, just to sign.
This
was a big signing bonus.
I think a hypothetical number. I don't think the official numbers were released.
Okay, I don't think they would release it, but
yeah, but it was in the million. It was in the double millions.
That is a payday.
Yeah.
That's a 10.
And Ninja's already a multi-millionaire, so this is not that big of a deal to him. But in the grand scheme of things, but this makes a rich man even more rich. Is basically what's happening. So there you go. Streaming. Who knew?
That's an 8-digit paycheck.
Yeah, I know.
It's
insane.
For playing video games.
Yeah.
Microsoft, give us a percent of that.
Right? We talk about video games and we stream. That's close enough.
Yeah, we're close enough. We'll talk about you exclusively if you give us that money.
No, we won't. Anyway.
I know someone who will talk about you exclusively for that money.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. That brings us to our second story.
All right.
Pokemon.
The wrong logo.
I know.
This ain't about the fake game. This is about the realist game.
Okay. So, I've seen mixed emotions about this, but...
What?
Pokemon.
Mixed emotions.
Okay. Pokemon, today...
Okay.
Today...
Yes, today, this morning.
This morning, out of nowhere, I literally saw the tweet or post When I woke up this morning,
Yeah.
I saw the headline that said, "Here's where you can watch the new Pokemon stream."
I saw it
I was like,
a couple
what?
days ago. I saw it on Twitter. I made the correct choice now, I realize, to follow the official Pokemon account on Twitter.
Oh, directly, yeah.
It has been a godsend, because now I know these things happen beforehand
Yes.
instead of the day of. So yeah, a Galar research update is what they called it.
Yes. Well, for Galar being the new region of
Yes.
Pokemon.
Yes.
And
Sword and
as
Shield.
for Sword and Shield, and as we do here, we cover everything Disney. I mean, everything Netflix. I mean, everything
China. I mean,
yeah, everything Pokemon.
Pokemon. Yes,
related.
Pokemon.
But yes, the stream this morning revealed several new features and or Pokemon in Sword and Shield.
Okay.
Alright, first up we have more Peko.
So,
What
more
is the-
Peko?
This is a new creature described as a form-changing Pokemon discovered in the Galar. Which is going to be your new Pikachu type.
Yeah, basically, yeah. He's a Pikachu type.
Pikachu-esque.
Yeah, he's definitely similar to a Pikachu.
Especially when you have the typing of electric and dark.
Yes.
Well, electric, and it looks like a mouse. Well, gerbil. There's no tail.
He looks like a hamster.
Hamster. That's
Yeah,
what I'm going for.
He looks
Yeah.
like a hamster. Hamster Pikachu.
Yeah, hamster Pikachu. Well, as I just mentioned, it's a form changing, meaning it has two forms. One being a full belly mode, the happy one,
Yes.
or the kind of darker angry mode, as they
No.
noted.
Not angry mode.
Hangry
And
mode.
this is not us being cute. They literally said this in the stream.
They literally called it
They
hangry
used
mode.
the word hangry. Nintendo
Yes.
did, not us.
Yes, in which the Pokemon turns darker
Yes.
and its moveset becomes darker.
Right.
Well, more dark?
Sure,
The moves
yes.
become dark.
But
The
yeah.
moves go from electric to dark. But yeah, that is now Pokemons have form changes.
Well, no. Pokemon have had form changes since Diamond and Pearl. Since Ruby and Sapphire.
Right. I mean,
With Deoxys.
right. Yeah,
Deoxys was the first form-changing Pokemon.
Right. I think the last one was.
There's been a lot.
Well, it's been a lot. I mean, Aegislash was the one that comes to my mind.
Slash.
There's the
the
one.
season one from Diamond and Pearl. Forget the name of that one.
Right, and there's also one in the Alola region, but that was like type. The like type N, type X one.
Yes. Type Null.
Yeah, type Null. I
Yeah.
forget which one that was, or
Anyway,
the name of that Pokemon.
No, Type Null is the name of that Pokemon.
Oh, that is type Null?
Yes, Type Null is the name
Oh.
of that Pokemon. Anyway.
Anyways, yeah, form changes are not new, but we get a Pikachu or a hamster
Yeah.
change, and it's hangry mode. Yeah. This,
Pika.
yeah. In hangry mode, it changes its unique attack of Aura Wheel from an electric move to a dark move.
We're confirming it's a hamster because wheel. Hamster
Yes,
wheel.
because of hamster wheel. Gerbil. It's unclear if the creature has more forms that are yet to be revealed. I don't think so.
This isn't even its final
It's
form.
final form.
Sorry,
It may have
I had to.
I know. It may have an evolved form which has
Yeah, who
multiple
knows?
forms.
Maybe.
But speaking of evolved forms,
Uh-huh.
we have an evolved form of an older Pokemon.
Yeah.
This is the weird one. As the Pokemon Zigzagoon,
Right.
which evolved into Linoon, which is a Pokemon from the third generation?
Correct.
Yes,
Ruby
third
Sapphire.
generation. Will now, not only be getting a new Galar region form,
Yes.
But-
which were introduced this morning.
yes.
Just like Alola, there are Galarian forms.
Yeah, it's one of the things that they actually decided to carry over from a previous game.
Yes. Just like Sun Moon.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought this was cool. I'm glad that there are more. And they're not, and as Zigzagoon suggests, they're not restricting it to just Gen 1 Pokemon like Sun and Moon did. Pokemon beyond the first generation now are going to possibly have new forms.
right. This is a Gen 3 Pokemon, which
Yes.
means they totally skipped Gen 2 because
Yeah,
no love
maybe
for
there's
the
something we
Johto.
don't know yet, but
There's plenty we don't know clearly as they show
Clearly.
new stuff.
they're there.
But yeah, it gets a third evolution
Yes,
form.
Linoon evolves now, but only Galarian Linoon.
Yes, it evolves into Obstagoon.
Yes. So this means that this confirms that there will be evolutions that are specific to regional forms.
Yep.
That's new. Sun and Moon did not do that.
Right. The new form, or the new Galar form for this Zigzagoon line of Pokemon is now black and white.
Right, yes.
And it definitely looks more like a skunk and badger
it's cool.
than previous forms.
It's very cool.
Yeah, than just the brown form it was.
And then that's not the only Galarian form that they showed.
No. And one that was both so on the nose that it was kind of amazing and yet kind of creepy at the same time.
I love it so much.
Was Weezing.
Yes. Galarian
Weezing. Which is still called Weezing.
Yes.
But it has Galarian form where it has a top hat that is also a smokestack. And then its Smog forms on one of the faces a mustache and the other one a beard.
So
like an old-timey, industrialized London person.
According to the writing that accompanied this, the explanation for this Galarian Weezing is that it absorbs pollution through its mouth. It sucks it up, which is why it's got the green grime all over its face, is because it's constantly sucking in pollution, gross stuff. And then the smoke that comes out of the smokestack on the top is apparently purified air.
That's purified air?
Yes, the Weezing is saving us from global warming.
The Weezing is not toxic?
The Weezing is taking in the toxins and releasing purified air.
Weezing is a good guy.
A good Weezing. Galarian Weezing is a good Weezing. When I saw that, I was like, that is so funny.
Well, I guess that kind of goes along with its typing then. Because it's a dark fairy.
Right, that's the fairy part.
Yeah.
Is that it has magical goodness that it's using inside. But it means it's disgusting too, because it's just constantly like smeared with gross gunk because it's constantly eating pollution.
I wonder if it's because muck is what's causing the pollution, and that it's just like eating all of Muck's backup slime.
Yeah.
Muck and Grimer and Trash Panda.
Yep. Just sucking them up.
Yep. But that's not all. But wait, there's more. Oh, there was so much more in this. The trailer also unveiled the game's new rivals, Beatty and Marnie, as well as this generation's evil team, Team Yell.
Yes. Yeah, Team Yell.
Yes.
Who look like soccer hooligans, but I think their thing is not soccer hooliganism. Instead, they seem to be obsessed with one of the women you just...
Yes, they are rabid fans of Marnie.
Marnie, yes, that's who it was. Yeah, they're super fans
yes.
of one of your rivals.
They're super fans of one of your rivals, and they basically follow them around, follow you around, and basically like, oh, you don't like Marnie? Well, we'll teach you to like Marnie.
I like this idea because it reminds me of kind of like, what if the evil team was the squad of girls that hung out with Gary in season 1 of the show? Like, that's what it immediately reminded me of.
Yep.
Like, Gary.
He's our man. Team Yell.
Team Yell.
Yep.
I don't think it's a strong name. But I like the idea of them being like taking like stuff from hooliganism, because that is a very British thing, and attaching that to a team.
Right. Do note that she may be one of the, not just your rival, but obviously you'll meet them in the finals. But because she is, I guess, a singer performing in a stadium.
It seems unclear what she is.
But it kind of gives way to the kind of stadium aspect that the gyms are based around.
Right, yes. At least the ones we've seen so far.
Right. But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Because we're not done. The Pokemon Company then revealed a new mechanic.
Yeah, alright.
This one is called Poke Jobs. So now you have a reason to catch more Pokemon.
And something for your Pokemon to do while they're in their boxes?
So they kind of toyed with this in Sun and Moon.
But not to this extent.
Where they had the kind of Poke Galapagos Island stuff. Right. Where you can put your Pokemon on the island and they can do XP and gain beans and fruit and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is something else that your Pokemon can do.
Yes.
Pokejobs. Each Pokemon Center in the Galar region features a new type of PC called Rotomi.
Which I believe is probably an evolved form, possibly of Rotom,
Yep.
a Gen. Was that a Sun and Moon Pokemon? Or
No.
was it earlier than Sun and Moon?
That was
right?
earlier than Sun and
Black
Moon.
and White?
No, I want to say that was XY.
Okay, so
That was an XY, but
Gen 6 Pokemon.
because it became prominent in the Sun and Moon series as
You're
the
right,
Pokedex.
yes, as the Pokedex.
Yeah.
Correct.
But no, it was a XY Pokemon.
So yeah, this is another Rotom of sorts.
Yeah. Rotomi appears to serve a similar purpose as job boards in the game, letting you browse through a list of available Poke Jobs. Once you accept a Poke Job, you can then send one of your Pokemon from your box out to complete the task, and they'll return after a certain amount of time with rewards. Pokemon you send off to jobs will also earn XP,
Yeah.
and may even net you some rare items. Certain types of Pokemon will be more suited to specific jobs, and the amount of rewards you receive will depend on how long the Pokemon worked and how suited they were for the task. Now,
Yeah.
if this sounds completely new to you, that's because this type of thing was only shown during the Japanese version of the trailer, but mysteriously kept out of the English version, so you can only read it on the Pokemon website.
Yeah. So, I have two thoughts about this. My first thought is that this is interesting because this is a rare example of Game Freak paying attention to game design outside
Mhm.
of them. Because a feature like this is very trendy right now in Japanese game design.
Dragon Quest.
You see a lot of this in stuff like Dragon Quest, especially Dragon Quest Builders,
Yep.
the most recent Dragon Quest offshoot. You see this in Monster Hunter.
Yep.
You see this in a lot of those kinds of games. But also, if you're a fan of mobile clickers, this is also very familiar. Sounds very familiar to like things in clicker games as well.
Yes, idle games.
Idle games where you can basically like send somebody off and do something while you're doing something else in the game.
Or not doing something in the game.
Yeah. So yeah, it's neat to see Game Freak expand like this into a mechanic that I would have never thought they would have done in a Pokemon game. My second thought about this is that I had a kind of a revelation that I hadn't thought of until today in the car on the way home, thinking about this specific mechanic.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, you know what? They probably have a lot more horsepower and memory to work with in this game than they've ever had to work with, just because of the sheer size of a Switch game in comparison to a 3DS game. So I started thinking, I wonder if there's a lot of extra game modes and mechanics in this one,
Extra mini games.
just because they have the room for it.
Just
now.
because they can throw it in there
Yeah.
as a mini game, as a side
Yeah.
mission.
I imagine just the sheer size that they had to play around with here has given them the ability to play around with things like mini games like this that they would have never had space for in the past.
Well, I think because they either can't or shouldn't make the actual region so big and vast
Yes.
that it becomes too enormous,
Yeah.
that it will still be the same size of
Yeah.
a normal game,
Yes.
but the amount of stuff you can do within each city
Yeah.
and within like the open roaming stuff will be expanded upon.
Which, if all of this is true, leads to gives credence to my theory, which is the reason why they keep referring to the gym stuff as the gym quest,
Yeah.
or whatever term they use, is that there are other things you can do besides gym battles, which is super exciting. to
Yeah.
me.
I really like these
Yeah.
Pokemon jobs because it gives you a reason to continuously catch Pokemon and not just catch them, have them for 5 minutes until you fill out your team, or, have them just sit in your box all lonely and sad.
Or in Pokemon, what is it called? Not Bank.
Here, your Pokebank.
No, the new thing. What is that going to be called? It's not Bank, it's something else. Pokemon.
Oh, your Poke Hub, your Poke World, Pokemon Hub,
Shoot, I forgot what it's called. Whatever, the new
Planet,
thing.
yeah.
Poke Cloud.
Yeah, right.
So
So
they
the
should have
Pokemon
called it,
Cloud.
but it's not called that.
No.
Whatever it's called, yeah. But anyway.
Anyways.
Home. Pokemon Home.
Pokemon Home.
Yes. So yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
this is more Pokemon news. Still coming out on November 15th.
Yes. Also, I think the designs that every single new trainer or gym leader or character design they show, it's just like they're kicking ass in the character design. This one, I think Marnie is one of the cooler designs that they've shown so far. Like, everything in this game just looks so cool from a design standpoint. They're just getting better and better every generation, I think.
Oh, it's going to be good.
I can't wait.
This is going to be a good one.
This is,
feel
this is easily the thing I'm most looking forward to, video game-wise, this year.
Okay, I was going to say video game-wise.
Yes, video game-wise.
Yes.
All
right, that brings us to the end of Pokemon. Let's see if anything else to talk about Pokemon.
Yeah, I think that's it for Pokemon, which means we get to talk about thoughts. You've been playing a video game.
I have? Yes, I have.
Yes, you have.
Yes, I have. Okay. I have been... So, way back about almost 2 hours ago,
Uh-huh.
I brought up the fact that I did go to the movies because I was doing something else.
Right.
I was playing Madden, the new Madden game that came out for the general public.
General public.
On Friday. I picked it up on my way home.
Madden 20.
Played it,
The
yes.
20th Madden game. No,
Yes.
sorry. The Madden game for 2020.
Yes, we already had the 20th Madden game.
It happened a while ago.
Yes, this is Madden 20 with Patrick Mahomes on on the cover. So, you have your... I'm up to date. You have your general gameplay. You have your exhibition quick play. You have your Madden Ultimate Team. Quick note about that. I don't like the layout for Madden Ultimate Team. I like the way I had it 2 generations ago when we had it. Or is that 4 generations now?
That's just
right?
2 years.
Yeah. I liked it better 2 years ago. The layout was better. You had actual, like, block stuff, and they kept updating instead of just having this continuously running list that hopefully you pay attention to. They kind of want you to stick to the home world and not go to mission specific, but I like going mission specific. But yeah, that kind of sucks. But the big change they did here was they got rid of single player mode.
Well, no, that's not necessarily true. They got rid of long shot.
Yeah.
There is still a replacement for a long shot, which is the face of the franchise.
Yes. They still have a franchise mode where you can take your team specific
that's never
to
gonna
the
go
Super
away.
Bowl. That will never go away.
But single player wise, this is their new single player mode.
Yes.
So Face of the Franchise. So I saw you started Face of the Franchise.
Yes.
Because I briefly checked out your stream on Saturday. I was at Mark's place. And I was like, yeah, let's see what he's doing. And I saw you playing a college game, which was very confusing to me.
Yes, it
but
was.
now I realize after watching Giant Bomb's Quick Look, that's how apparently the Face of the Franchise opens.
That's how it opens.
Yes.
You pick your player.
Yeah.
Which is
You
funny.
create your own player, which is different from long
Which is
shot.
weird. Which is funny because in the game you walk into a bathroom, and then you change your character.
Yeah.
So you walk in as default character and come out as
Whoever
new
you wanna be,
person.
yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Don't you know that's what happens in Magic Bathroom?
That's what happens in bathrooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically you're a high school senior doing signing day 4 years ago in the past.
Yeah.
You're signing to your college team. You get to pick one of several college teams to play in. Like Texas Tech, Alabama, Clemson, Oregon, USC, and LSU. There's those 7.
Right.
Specifically those 7 for some reason.
They probably were like, what are the most popular?
We're the most popular. We're the top teams. Who can we get licensed?
The top teams, the top, as you would call them, D-League teams.
Yes, the top D-League teams.
Yes.
How'd you know that?
You're welcome.
But yeah, the top D-League teams. But it also kind of puts you in a region of what you want to be in.
Yes.
So I,
You.
being the ever-loving fan that I am,
Yes.
decided to return to the great Mark Sanchez back in the NFL.
Yes.
And calling this stream I'm doing Face of the Sanchez.
Yes, that's the first thing I noticed was that you were one playing as USC and 2 that he was Sanchez.
Yes.
And I look over to Mark and he's like, wait, doesn't he hate USC? And I'm like, yeah, but we all love Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, we do.
So yeah, we got a kick out of that.
Yeah. So Mark Sanchez, playing as the Face of the Sanchez. You go through the games, the first 2 games, kind of gauge your skill level, and then it puts you into the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And because it is the face of the franchise, this is my first kind of negative thing about it.
Okay.
You don't pick what team you go on.
Right.
You cannot pick what team you go on.
You end up in a team that needs a quarterback, correct?
You end up always going in the 27th round, and you end up going to a team that needs a quarterback.
I hear it's most commonly, apparently, the Miami Dolphins.
The most common one is the Miami Dolphins. I've also seen the Broncos.
Uh-huh.
I got put on the Raiders.
Oh, weird. Okay. How weird. Cosmic that you got put on the Raiders this season.
Well, because I was USC.
Yeah.
And then I played against...
yeah.
I think it's depending on what you pick, because if you pick the team you are playing against the team you're going to play against, that kind of picks what team you're going to be on. So because I picked the USC playing against the Oregon Ducks, it assumed I wanted to be a West Coast team.
Yeah.
So it put me on one of the weakest West Coast teams.
Right.
But the thing is that if you play as any of those three teams, you have to go up against either the Bears twice, the Patriots twice, the Kansas City Chiefs twice, or the LA Rams twice during your season.
Also, I want to note here that just like Long Shot before it, this is exclusively a quarterback mode. You're only playing the quarterback, except for that college game, weirdly enough, where you play as everybody.
Yes.
But for the actual season games, you're only playing the quarterback position.
Yes. For the college stuff, you can play as whoever. You basically play everyone in the game.
You play the game like a scrimmage.
You play the game like an exhibition game, like you would.
Yeah.
You pick whoever. You pick what you control on defense. When you throw a pass, you control them on the control season.
But after that, you're just a quarterback.
Yeah. Which kind of sucks, because I'd like to create a face of the franchise, just a receiver or just a running back, which I've done before.
You would prefer to be able to pick your thing, but no, they've chosen to control this to just be a quarterback.
You can't be the next Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt.
No, you cannot.
Khalil Mack, defensive end.
You have to be a quarterback.
You have to be a quarterback.
And I get why they would do that in theory, because it's like quarterback is, the face of most franchises.
Right. I mean, most of the quarterbacks on the Madden covers are quarterbacks. Yeah. Most of both face on the
generally
covers.
Speaking, when you think of the star player on a team, you probably are thinking of their quarterback.
Right, and also when you're on offense, when you hike the ball, the ball goes to the quarterback automatically.
Right.
So so you have to be a quarterback. I see that as a negative more than a positive, because it doesn't give you that option, that freedom of being a superstar. You have to be a quarterback.
Yeah. I was thinking about this because I was like, that almost makes... I would say it almost makes football a unique sport because of just how much pressure is on one member. But then, of course, when you start kind of talking about sports with goalies, that kind of unravels, because kind of the goalie is also the most important player in a lot of soccer and hockey. So it's like, I guess it depends on what you're talking about. But it definitely does seem modern football is so much weighted on the quarterback.
Especially the last couple of years.
Yes.
Where
Tom Brady especially. Being
especially this decade.
Yeah.
Where quarterbacks have gone in the first number one overall, winning Heisman trophies, gone number
almost
one in the draft just about every year.
Yeah.
Where if you get that number one pick, you kind of automatically have to draft a quarterback to be the new face of the franchise.
Again, all comes full circle.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're going for. It does kind of suck,
right?
But
from a gameplay perspective,
from a being unique perspective,
yeah.
But I kind of get it.
Right.
I'm still going to dock it though.
Yeah.
But I get what they're going for.
Because, you almost wish that there was freedom in that mode, but it makes sense why they went.
Right, but my big gripe is that you cannot pick your own team.
Right.
You cannot choose where you go. You cannot decide, I want to be on my favorite team.
And you can't even influence it. Like the thing that the show does, in its kind of equivalent, which is the Road to the Show mode.
Right.
It not only get you where you get to pick your position, but you do get to kind of seed a team that you'd like to be on.
Right.
So that way the game at least has an idea of where you'd like to be. However, still also gives you opportunities to play for other teams without your input. Such as a trade that comes out of nowhere.
Right, and that's something that's been in previous games
Yeah.
where you can kind of choose that you want to play in the north, south, east, west. You kind of want to go up against this person or this team you like. Kind of like the player question interviews for Superstar Mode prior. None of that is really here. It's mainly, here's the teams you want, what kind of gameplay you want to be, whether it's like a running, scrambling quarterback or a drop pass, pocket protection quarterback.
Yeah.
And that kind of determines what playbook you'd want, and that goes along with what team you go to.
Okay.
But the main thing around any team you go on is that team sucks.
Right. So
because you have to be the face, the quarterback.
Right.
And in order to be the face, you have to be on a sucky team.
Okay, so the other thing I'm curious about is, so this isn't as story central as Longshot is. However, there are story elements here. So what's going on in the story of this?
There's some story elements involving you and your friendship with a little girl. You with your friendship.
That doesn't sound great.
She has cancer. It's okay.
Okay.
Your friendship with your previous teammate who's coming to the NFL the following season. Your friendship with your former coach, the one that picked you from high school, your scouting coach, and your actual head coach. For me, it's John Gruden.
Right.
So whenever I see his text message pop up, I always do it in the voice of John Gruden.
Yep. Why wouldn't you?
Because why wouldn't you?
You have to.
It's always fun. But because I am the face of the franchise, because I am the quarterback,
yes,
I am also, by happenstance, the coach in this thing. So I call all the plays. And here's where the big negative comes in to play.
Big negative.
Because I call all the plays,
right,
it means I call all the shots, meaning I am passing every single down.
Oh no.
Because I am the face of the franchise. The thing goes on my shoulders.
Right.
And because I am a quarterback and not, say, like a running back, where I prefer that the coach send in the play and it's a run play, so good, I get the ball. No. My running back basically called me out saying, hey, I'm not getting any touches. What the hell? It'd be great if I could get some touches.
And you're like, okay, yeah, but that means I don't get to play the game.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I said, we all have to do our part of the team.
Yeah.
So I basically started lining up more 5 receivers and doing more swing passes just to give him the ball so he'd be quiet. So the next game, he got 2 touchdowns. He's like, hey, thanks really appreciate the touchdowns.
So you ended up figuring a way around that.
Yeah.
But
still. He still has 0 rushing yards. I had the most rushing yards. I had 1,000 rushing yards in the season.
You're facing the franchise. You get all the glory.
Oh, did I get all the glory? So I completed my first season in this franchise mode. Yeah. Well, the games went kind of quick.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of it since I'm so used to playing this freaking baseball game that lasts forever. Football has a much shorter season.
Yeah. In previous Superstar modes, there was a calendar set up, and every day you had to go to practice. Here, it's just 1 practice a week. Because I think as they figured it out, you want to get to the games.
Oh, yeah, no. They probably realized after a long shot, it's like... Yeah, I think the whole thing of this is an interesting course correction from Season 2 of Longshot, last year's game, is that everybody was like, yeah, I just want to play the game. Mm-hmm. Like, let me play football.
Let me play the series. Not, I don't want to go practice. I don't want to strengthen my player. I do.
Footballs with Dan Marino in an army on an army base.
It's like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to get better, but I also want to play the game. So now instead of being the
best part of that game, by the way.
I know. Now instead of the goal being to better your player, the goal is now to get into the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
They give you the legacy bar. You now get points at the end of the season.
A literal legacy bar.
A literal legacy bar to try and get into the Hall of Fame.
I've been to the legacy
and
bar
once.
They kicked me out because I vomited on the bar.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No, that was Legends.
No, it wasn't. I didn't actually do that. That was someday I know. Anyways.
Anyways. Oh, that was a great time.
Names have changed to protect the innocent. Anyways.
Yes. But yeah, anyways, I think I like that better, that the point is to be self-centered and get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because when you really play the games, you are trying to be that superstar all-in-all player.
Yeah.
And boy, did I do that.
And boy, did you do that.
In my first season, I set my goals as you do, and to meet your goals, you get extra points. I set my goals in the beginning of the season. You can choose between maxing out at 4,000 passing yards or 30 touchdowns. Guess which one I did?
30 touchdowns?
Yes, because you actually get more. Because you get more points if you do that.
Yeah.
Guess how many I threw?
52.
Well,
am I in the ballpark?
Yeah.
Okay.
I threw 50 touchdowns.
Jesus Christ.
As a rookie in a season, tying Patrick Mahomes' record.
I was going to say, doesn't that make you like the best rookie quarterback of all time or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not only did I pass for 50 touchdowns,
right,
getting me the number 2 passing touchdowns in a season, behind Peyton Manning, who threw 52.
Right.
I threw 50. I came short there. But I also threw for over 5,000 passing yards. I set not just the rookie record, but the league record for passing yards in a season. I won Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year in the NFL, AP Player of the Year, and AFC Player of the Year.
So no question here that you will eventually be in the Hall of Fame.
I am so... well, okay. Mark Sanchez...
This fake-ass Mark Sanchez.
Fake-ass Mark Sanchez...
is what we'll call him from now
is
on.
currently sitting at number 9
on the all-time list.
On the currently active players for Legacy. I have more awards than every other player because I got 4 awards that were rookie season.
Right, that's insane.
But yeah, it just shows how absurd this game is.
Yeah.
When you decide not to play a game like you normally would, where you're running the ball, where you literally decide to pass every play, where you have Antonio Brown as one of your receivers who plays like Randy Moss and goes up and gets the ball every single time, where if the play breaks down, I run it for 10 yards and get the first down. It's literally absurd and insane.
Yeah. Okay, so ridiculously powerful fantasy quarterback aside, how does this bode for the real Raiders season?
Oh, this is terrible. As I was watching Hard Knocks on Tuesday, I kept making the joke like, Sanchez is coming for your job. I can make that pass. Where's Mark Sanchez? Bring Mark Sanchez out.
Right, exactly. It's like, no, he's in the recording booth upstairs. So
if you think that was insane, when I typed in my name, the announcer is able to read that name and actually says Mark Sanchez with the throw.
Yeah.
Sanchez with because it's a pre-programmed name.
Right. That's good.
But yeah, like Sanchez with the pack. Oh, Sanchez got sacked. And
I'm sure they have that recorded a lot.
Oh yeah. In my first season, I had 117 sacks. I'm sorry, I gave up 117 sacks.
I was gonna say that's a lot.
And I threw 35 picks.
Jesus Christ. And yet
I still
touchdowns narrowed like balanced that.
And yet I still had a 110 passer rating.
Okay, so we can't talk about this forever, even though I know you can.
Oh, I can because I started by season 2, and I already set a record for passing yards in a game.
Oh, Jesus.
And I tied the record with 7 touchdowns in a game.
Okay.
And that's only my second game of season 2.
So, Face the Franchise. Was that the... And you talked about Face the Franchise, you talked about Ultimate Team. Did you try anything else in the Madden pantheon of modes?
Played some exhibition games. I think the teams are actually more balanced this time. You don't have any 90 teams. Oh. It caps off at like 87.
Okay, that's smart.
A lot of the teams are in the high 70s, low 80 range.
You don't frickin' have the ridiculously OP Patriots again.
No.
Yeah.
But what it does have is an arcade mode.
Okay.
Where everything is like turned up to 11.
Right.
The catches are more ridiculous, and the truck sticks are more ridiculous, meaning that if you truck stick someone, it's almost guaranteed to be a fumble.
This sounds like Blitz. Is this
It is kind of like Blitz, because I played this arcade mode on accident.
Yeah.
Thinking like, oh, it's on accident. I forgot to switch it to simulation. Yeah. Oh, well, let's see what it's like.
Yeah.
And literally, every time I hit him, he fumbled the ball.
Yes.
Because I was using the truck stick.
It is NFL Blitz.
It's kind of like NFL Blitz.
Oh man, that sounds like the mode I would play.
Well, also because whenever you throw the ball, in double coverage, they'd go up and get it.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane.
It's good.
But it's also arcade mode, so it's supposed to be cartoony, I assume.
It's supposed to be.
But they also have like simulation mode and like
Yeah, of
manual
course.
mode.
All
You
the
know,
stuff. All the
if
stuff
you want to play
Madden.
actual football,
Right, if you want to play Super All Pro Madden, it's there too.
right? But no, arcade mode is hilarious.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a decent Madden game. It's definitely not the best.
Have you had any glitches and bugs? Because I've heard that this one is an especially buggy year.
No, I have not encountered any glitches or bugs. I
Right.
do think
Are you
that
playing
the
this on Xbox One or PS4?
Xbox One.
Okay.
I do think that the Madden Ultimate Team is definitely taking a backside, especially in development and in terms of like stuff.
Yeah, I think EA is getting a little skittish about the
Ultimate Teams,
Ultimate Team modes in their games because
Yeah.
of the loot box crackdown.
right?
So they're probably not forefronting it as much as they used to.
It doesn't seem like it. It seems like this game is definitely either for exhibition mode or face the franchise mode.
Yeah.
Or there's still also regular franchise where you can take
course,
your team
yes.
and play it as a regular game.
It's a given.
But yeah, that's always there. But yeah, it's a fine game. I don't know. I didn't play last year, but doing my 2-year gap,
Seems like it was a good choice.
it works out to do the 2-year gap mode that I'm on.
All right.
But yeah, Madden 20. It's
20.
out. Pick it up
In stores
or
now.
wait a month and a half for it to go down by like $10.
Yeah, because you don't want to buy it $60.
Yeah.
Or split it with a friend or a roommate, and
Yeah.
then save money that way.
Do that. All right. I think that's it.
I think that wraps it up. So
All right.
thank you for watching this edition of the Media Boat Podcast. That's it for video games, and that's it for the show.
All right. Plug away.
We can plug now. If you want to see this show live next week and every Wednesday around 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, you can do so on YouTube. At the top of the show, we mentioned this. We'll mention it again. Go to youtube.com, search Media Boat Podcast, find our channel. Like, subscribe, click the bell. If you do so, you'll get notifications when we go live. That's where you can watch the show live with our mugs on it.
Oh.
You can also listen to our podcast version of the show on any podcast service that you subscribe to. Just search Media Boat Podcast, and you'll find us. You can also find us on social media. We're on Twitter at MediaBoatCast. Facebook, search Media Boat Podcast. Find our page, like, comment there. You can find us on twitch.tv/MediaBoat when we're streaming video games such as Madden 20.
Yep. Face of the Franchise will be back. I'll be streaming my second season now. I decided not to stream the end of that second season because as soon as I realized I was going to be under 500, I decided not, and I wasn't going to make
Yeah.
Super Bowl or playoffs. I was like,
Might as well not, right.
I'm just going to play it for myself and not worry about streaming.
Yeah.
But now that clearly in my second season I set the record, set 2 records, and literally had a perfect passer rating. I broke the system.
Yeah.
I'm going to be streaming it
Yeah.
because
Cool.
I'm pretty sure I can make it to Super Bowl in my second season.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
So yeah, you can watch him do that on twitch.tv/MediaBoat. You can also email us if you'd like, ask questions, comments about the show, whatever you want. MediaBoatPodcast@gmail.com is the email address you can send those to. And last but not least, if you want to help us with money, please, patreon.com/MediaBoat is where you can help us out there. It is not free to run a podcast. It costs money to host podcasts and present them ad-free like we do for you. It also costs money to have a website with an archive of our old writing. So yeah, it's not it costs money to get stuff like this microphone and to upgrade our systems. So yes, please, if you can, go to patreon.com/MediaBoat. Donate as little as $1 a month to help us out. Even that little amount helps us out. So please, consider donating to our Patreon. Thank you. And that'll do it.
That'll do it for us. We'll be
Media
back
Boat
next
Podcast.
week with more thoughts. I'm pretty sure I'll go to the movies and watch
Yeah.
something this weekend.
Maybe see some movies.
See some movies, have some more TV, and some more Madden to talk about. And definitely more albums.
Yes. So,
So,
let's talk
we'll be
about
back
that.
next week with more stuff. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see
Bye-bye.
you next week. Bye-bye. Oh, such a long podcast.
Yeah,
Good
how-
thing we
Is
ate.
that the longest
All
one?
right, bye.